know. Isn't that wild? But yeah, man, that's, listen, so like, now that we have it official, we already knew it. I didn't need to be told it. But now that we have it official, I really am not going to take any bullshit from anybody off anything. Not that I was anyway, but like, people need to really shut the fuck up. Like, really.
Dude, for years I was saying Joe Biden is not the one running the country, and John Patrick thought I was being hyperbolic.
Why is it that when we say things, everybody treats us like, not that we are not right-wing reactionaries, because we are right-wing reactionaries, but like, why do they treat us as if we're just, everything's like a hyperbolic reaction, like we're taking everything in bad faith? Is it because they're hyperbolic reactioning everything in bad faith?
No, it's because they're sheeple. Oh, I'm liberal as fuck.
It's because they have to admit they are
wrong. There's a good number of people, and I'm not saying this is Patrick, who process conclusions not based on the validity of how you derive them, but based off of what their friends will think about them if they hold that conclusion.
Yes, that's like, I'd say the majority of people, unfortunately.
And so you can describe with like empirical syllogisms every step of the way to a conclusion, and at the very end of the conclusion, they'll just think, will my friends dislike me if I hold this conclusion, and then they won't care about anything else.
My entire Twitter feed is Dennis Porter hate. That's kind of amazing.
Dude, I don't know why, but fucking I forget, this like mid-tier Republican had Nick Fuentes on. I forget his name, Dan Bongino, or not Dan Bongino, one of these like guys. And yeah, Nick Fuentes is kind of a retard. Let me reframe that. I don't think he's unintelligent. I think he's evil. And if someone were to someone, it's crazy that they shot Charlie Kirk.
You Fish, my entire feed is also Dennis Porter hate, and I've come to realize that was the massive breaking news that's bullish for Bitcoin.
Let's go.
Because I'll look up the name of the podcast, but Nick Fuentes spent 40 minutes talking about how he was a victim because when he was 19, people started canceling him for the opinion that having mixed-race marriages is immoral and a form of degeneracy, and that anyone who marries outside of their race is a moral degenerate and should be looked down on. And then he spent half an hour talking about how he was a victim because people started ostracizing him from the right movement for that opinion of, literally being a racist.
Yeah, what's his beef with mixed race marriages?
It's moral degeneracy. Don't you know this? Everyone knows this. That's And if you criticize him for the opinion that he holds and don't want to hire him over that, that's just Jewish propaganda and cancel culture. And it's all these women. Apparently Nick Fuentes, when he was 19, tried to hit on girls, and then they'd hang out with him. And then he would say mixed race dating is degeneracy, and if you have a child with someone with a different race, you're a moral degenerate. And they recorded him saying that, and then sure that no one in right-wing media hired him. And that's apparently cancel culture going too far.
But what is his beef with, like, genetic diversity optimization?
You can ask him. You're more than welcome. I listened to him for like 45 minutes explain it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not listening to him more, but that's seems to be a very appropriate step for ostracization from wanting to hire someone. You know, Nick Fuentes was the one that got Kanye West to say that he loved Hitler. Like, if you actually go back and watch that Alex Jones interview, Nick Fuentes is sitting right next to him. Hey Jolta, I'm curious on the rank ordering of dweeb to nerd. Is collecting classic comic books more dweeb/nerdy than playing Magic the Gathering? Where does that rank? Am I now become nerdier than you?
Magic is like number one.
Is it? Huh. It can't be number one. There's got to be something worse. It's kind of funny. I've been enjoying how much of a filter it is. I was about to go on a date with someone, and I was like, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm busy Saturday because I'm going to a Magic tournament. And then they stopped talking to me. And I was like, you know what? If that filtered them out, it was going to happen at some point. To the Department of War. That was all. How many of us here are MAGAs? You just a black man.
Over and over again.
Charlie didn't get the benefit.
Please. Not.
In a different country.
I'm sorry. I'm actually not opposed to them learning about the Bible when it comes to like law because I feel like that.
Back then. Yeah, he was dropping clips. Remember when he said only what was the bitch he talked about?
Only Rosie, like said you like a pig with makeup or something, right?
No, she said you called women's dogs pigs, and he said only word. Yeah. Look, no, I actually liked them in like 2016, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's what's important with our politicians is that they're able to like insult people correctly.
People are insecure. You know, ambition is a hell of a drug. He marries a man, she's gonna have to sit down and be a trad wife and the cheerleader from the side. If she's tasted blood, she ain't marrying nobody.
Well, maybe she could be Trump's side piece. It's okay. We'll find somewhere to tell her to go.
Cut the shit. Melania is not having that.
I'm sure he tired of Melania. I think Melania be okay with that. She tired of that motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, Melania only comes for paid appearances.
Melania's like, yo, when are you gonna die? What the fuck? Hurry up.
Mel, what's wrong with you tonight? What's going on?
I'm just saying. I can see it in her face.
I think you need to take a nap.
Melania's like, I can't deal with this old wrinkly man. That's how her face be looking.
She probably tired of that CPAP machine.
I'm telling you. She's like, I'm tired of sleeping next to that diaper booty. Go over there. Ugh.
I'm convinced she got side piece.
She probably be squeezing the cord on the CPAP machine.
She definitely got a side piece. Or she fucking somebody in NYU where her son goes to school at.
She's gonna be the first wife he doesn't divorce.
Your Honor, yes, diaper booty. Doesn't he look like he got a diaper booty?
Who was that? Who said
Trump.
that Erica Kirk should be
Al Bundy.
Oh, I know.
Al Bundy. Who was Al Bundy's wife?
I've been looking for the time to block her.
Peg, yeah. Al Bundy and Peg at the bottom.
During the time that they were what is
Peggy,
that called?
Peggy, yeah. Peggy and Al Bundy, they in the goo. He got his hand up. He's trying to come up.
Oh.
He wants attention. Al Bundy and Peggy.
Okay, so you are probably like... Which one is Peggy?
What you mean, Al? It's next to his wife is Peggy. Look at his wife.
Oh, shit. You playing for real. You really should know. Hey, Your Honor.
What do you think? That these people gonna talk shit and we ain't gonna talk shit? Fuck out of here.
No,
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Then we got Mike P playing Karen.
Oh.
You trying to dox me?
Oh, yeah. Somebody mute her mic. What's happening?
Fuck.
Let that woman speak.
Sir, I got a bunch of people that you gave that information to. They were on my stage, sir. I got a bunch of witnesses.
Why are you bringing this back? What is happening?
No, because I can't stand people that got color and they pay Karen wrong. They male Karen.
Sorry, ma'am. I plead
Yes,
all time.
you too. I could deal with you sometime.
Barely.
What's a male Karen? When y'all get the name for me, I won't call these men Karen.
Kevin.
Tired of these motherfuckers.
Hey, Trent.
No, it's not Kevin. It's not Kevin.
Nah, Kevin is not a good name. Karen?
Okay, Kevin.
I got a name. Bitch ass niggas.
Go away now. You know what? Y'all are crazy. I really want to hear. So, does anybody have the Trump UN? They said he overspoke the time and everything.
Oh, I don't know.
They said it was embarrassing. Oh shoot! I just got a alert. Oh my gosh, she back on the app. Y'all remember Indira?
Oh, wow.
I remember that name. Ooh, now you want to talk about a black female?
Ooh, when I went to go curse out the other day, but she got away before I could.
Culturally? Yeah. Ooh, she a special one.
Is one of my least favorite of all time.
Seem like a Candace on the app. Quotacious.
And it's so arrogant about it, too.
I think yesterday Pink Pill and Quinn was arguing in another room. I was like, oh, this is juicy.
Ain't shit endearing about her.
Here. The room is called Open Talk Conservative and Liberals.
All right, hold on. Open Talk Conservative.
I heard it. It should be called Diaper Booty.
Oh my God.
I like that. I like Diaper Booty. That's hilarious.
Your Honor, do not encourage her. Thank you.
booty is objectively hilarious. That's fantastic.
It may be, but don't
To describe a
encourage.
grown-ass man, I love it. Everything that
Hold on, I don't see that house.
just to make fun of him, I think.
You don't see? It might not be a house. It might just be a regular room.
Oh, that's their title, you mean?
I mean, he does have a nice booty. You never see he had his pants. They be right up under his titties. He had a belt right up under like his titties and the big ass bloomers. He is a terrible looking specimen of a orangutan or whatever he is.
I'm trying to look for the room. Should biracials have their own community? I'm telling you, these people are so bored.
Masculinity mansion. I'm gonna go to.
Why are black men old black women reparation? Yeah. I don't even see that freaking room. Y'all need to bring the link back. Y'all want me to stream it. Beyond love. I probably don't follow nobody in that room. That's why it's not coming up in the hallways.
Let me see if I can find it.
People who were suffering, people who God was.
Oh, this room is playing her speech, Erica.
I was reading another video that I was born in 1974, so I grew up with European famines, and I remember seeing them on the news, and
That's crazy. I only heard her voice one time. I already could tell his wife's voice. Now somebody got a room saying Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, they're setting up the Christmas stuff at Macy's right now.
Already. I keep trying to tell you, you ain't listening.
Yeah,
the fourth quarter is here.
Mel, I sent it to you in your back channel.
Okay. They just want us to somebody.
I was going to ask y'all, have y'all ever heard about the former Republican candidate called Solomon Pena? Are y'all familiar with him?
No.
Okay, this is kind of interesting. So,
Solomon Pena. Oh, Pena.
Pena, P-E-N-A.
I thought you said Pena.
Pena, right? He's a former Republican candidate in New Mexico. He actually ran in 2022 for election, right? He was defeated by a Democrat, and then he got mad and said basically he didn't want to concede. He said that the election was rigged, and he tried to do the Donald Trump thing, basically. That he's very MAGA. He's definitely MAGA. And then after that, he got mad and did a series of shootings on Democrats' homes in Albuquerque, right? So he started doing drive-bys on Democrats. I'm not making this shit up. He started doing drive-bys on Democrats' houses. And they said in one of the scenarios, he was orchestrating the drive-bys. I guess he had a Republican hit squad. And then in one of them, he actually pulled the trigger himself, but the weapon actually malfunctioned because he fails at everything he fucking does. He was arrested on January 16th. After a police investigation, he faced charges including shooting at occupied dwellings, conspiracy, weapons, and interfering with federally protected activities, voting and such. He was found guilty of all 13 charges brought against him and sentenced to 80 years in prison plus 3 years of supervised release. The judge described his actions as egregious. So this is a guy that actually ran for office as a Republican, very MAGA. You can find pictures of him in all the MAGA gear, and started literally doing drive-by on Democrat houses. But we the ones that they need to be protected from, IU.
Was he a leftist? He sounds like a leftist.
Very right.
He was
very right.
trans. He was trans.
A trans maxer, right? Must have been a trans.
So we're waiting on Donald Trump to pardon him in this moment, Be very fitting.
80 years and then 3 years supervision. Wow.
That sentence is crazy, right? But imagine he's really doing drive-by on Democrat legislators' houses, bro, just because he lost and doesn't want to concede. Like, These are the Republicans that we're saying are nonviolent. Mind you, this happened in 2022, 2023. These are years where there was no democratic violence. This is just the Repubs sliding and knocking shit down. That's some gangster, like gangbanging shit.
These are state charges.
I'll put the link. You can check it out. I don't know if they were state or federal.
Okay, I'll go read it myself as well.
Did he go to jail? Is he in
No, I'm telling you, Spirit, I don't know. I literally don't know. I'm just.
No, I'm fucking like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Spyrick was on his spicy.
Yeah, he's spicy. He's angry too. Basically, he gotta get his Snickers. But yeah, he's doing 80 years. He's doing 80 years. Yeah.
Okay.
I just had Trump would pardon him if given a shot. So, federal charges.
Release him.
Sounds like he already took a shot. Supervision after the 80 years. Okay. 3-year supervision after.
That was nasty, Yana.
Oh, it's not already. It is already. It's out.
Mike Pussy's on this side in this room.
Put everybody under the bus. It's almost worth me buying it just because.
I'll drop the link in the chat if y'all want to check it out.
No, that's Indira.
Yeah, that's Indira. And what Mike Pussy said, he just came in the room and was like, "Oh, have you guys read Kamala Harris's book?"
You know what? Mel, we could actually play that clip. You know, Kamala did Good Morning America.
Before one, I only had. Oh, I don't have the whole clip. I just have.
That
like,
was pretty
one.
long, though. That was pretty good. Let me see. You want me to play
And
it?
then the link, y'all, because you can see him in his MAGA gear, by the way. So he's definitely,
no?
we can't, there's no getting away with this one.
Was he a January 6th?
I don't think he was a January 6th.
I'm joking.
He was doing his own shit.
Knowing the Republicans, they're going to say this is a false flag. It's just wearing that's to get the right in trouble.
Right. He's in Antifa, and Antifa bought the shirt.
Right.
Yeah,
Like the mental gymnastics the right will do to not take.
Do you care about Bob Dylan, Glennis?
Yeah, that most recent movie was so great. It's really worth seeing. Timothy.
Nice.
Yeah.
What if you don't know anything
I didn't know.
about him?
I didn't know any of his music, but the movie was good.
Yeah, I knew some of his music. I guess
I feel like
that
you
wasn't
should
really my
appreciate the
era,
music.
but yeah. Or my
I feel
parents.
like you have to know the music before you see like that kind of movie. But I guess maybe not.
No, but it's just an interesting movie, even if you didn't know the music.
I guess.
Mama yo.
This is Queen, though. You know that, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Or
This is not Bob Dylan.
But whoever the head actor was in Bohemian Rhapsody, I mean, he's a very strange
Rami
looking
Malek
person.
or whatever.
Yeah, he's a very strange looking person.
Yeah.
But he played Freddie pretty well.
Pretty good in that, though. Yeah.
Who's the guy from America's Got Talent that took over as lead singer and went on tour? People said
Adam Lambert.
Yeah, Adam Lambert. That's who it is.
Yeah.
He sounds great.
The gay guy?
Good compliment.
Yep. That's the one. And I heard it was because he was gay, and so was Freddie Mercury. That's how they could sing the same. Isn't that crazy, Dave?
Yeah, I know that just found out.
That the gays sing beautifully like angels.
That's why they got on them gay men choruses and whatnot, where they're flashing it up.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the gays men's chorus, Hope, where have you been tonight?
I've been around. I've been doing stuff.
Okay.
You're spreading the hope around.
Oh, that's the Beach Boys. I've been around.
At Penn Station for years.
Yeah.
I was just at Penn Station. They've been there for years. They have a lot of cop presence in Penn Station.
I'm not talking about
They just
cop.
sit there.
No, they have the ones in the fatigues with the guns.
No, with the bulletproof vests, with the fucking rifles.
Yeah, but I'm talking about soldiers, like the military. Like, I don't know. To me, that matters.
Yeah, they have fatigues on.
No, they do have those. It's not to minimize that experience in Union Station. I'm just saying we've seen them a lot in Penn Station, Port of.
All right, we can already play a clip because y'all ain't talking about shit.
That wasn't rude at all.
know. She's mean.
I can be.
That's all I keep telling y'all that. Y'all weird.
We're joined now by former Vice President Kamala Harris, who has a new book called 107 Days. That's a nearly day-by-day account of her run for president and the 2024 campaign. Vice President Harris, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Michael. It's good to be with you.
Great to be with you. And we're just gonna dive right into it. Okay. Everyone seems to have their own theory. But why do you feel or believe that you lost the 2024 presidential election?
Well, I talk about a lot of the factors that I think contributed to the outcome. But the reason I wrote the book is, Michael, it really was an unprecedented election. You think about it, a sitting vice president running for re-election, 3.5 months before the election decides not to run. The sitting vice president then takes up the mantle, running against a former president of the United States who had been running for 10 years with 107 days to go. It's unprecedented. It was the closest presidential election in the 21st century. And as history writes about that election, I felt very strongly that I wanted to make sure my voice was present in how that election is discussed and covered as part of American history, and I wanted to make sure my voice would be a part of that.
So did you believe 107 days was enough? Of course you wish you had more time, but do you think it was enough? And if not, do you think that any other Democrat could have pulled it off in 107 days?
It was not enough. I can't predict the outcome. We have lots of stars in our party. I'm sure that there are many people who would have done a great job. I can't predict what the outcome would have been.
Well, there were some Democrats who said that you don't take enough responsibility for the loss. How do you respond to that?
As I say many times in different ways in the book, the buck stopped with me, and I'm clear about that. And there were so many factors. You know, one of the aspects of those 107 days is important to remember as we go forward is that we have an individual in the White House, the President Trump, who in running for re-election made a lot of promises to the American people that he did not keep. I talk extensively about the fact he said that his main reason for running, and on day one, he was going to bring down prices. And I do believe a lot of people voted for him with that priority in mind. And look at where we are today. Inflation is up. The cost of food is up. Unemployment is up. He did not keep that promise to the American people. And we also need to remember those 107 days around some other stuff that he said. Mass deportations, that he would weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies, that he would silence critics. And he has done that consistently. Mass deportations, you know, somebody told me recently a story about a fellow they were talking with who was a big supporter of President Trump when he was running. He's a Floridian, he's Cuban descent. And he shared the story of how his life partner, his wife, is now in deportation proceedings to be sent to Sudan. And when asked, what happened? Why did you have so much support for him? He said, well, I believed what he said, that he was going to only go after criminals. So part of the reason that I have written this book is for us to remember that there is a somebody in the White House right now that made a whole lot of promises that were either about what would aggrandize and help him met out his vengeance, or about lies he told to the American people that he obviously never intended to keep.
And let's talk about somebody who was in the White House with you, President Biden. President Biden said he believed that he insists that he would have won the race. So when you hear him say that, how does that make you feel?
Dance break. Yeah, they had a dance break.
I think that the reality of it is that for me, I'm not going to predict what didn't happen. The reality is, and listen, I talk about how difficult January 6th was for me of 2024, not to mention 2020.
Yeah.
When I fulfilled my constitutional duty and responsibility as Vice President of the United States and President of the United States Senate to stand there as the former Democratic nominee for president and certify the election. Because I believe very strongly that in spite of all the other nonsense that might be coming out of my former opponent, I was not about to degrade the role of Vice President of the United States around acknowledging a free and fair election and the peaceful transfer of power, which is part of the hallmark of who we have presented ourselves to be as the United States of America.
Well, you said in the book that's the hardest thing you had to do.
It's one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, Michael.
But there are so many people out there who felt that President Biden shouldn't have run for re-election. And you wrote in the book that it was, quote, Joe and Jill's decision, and other Democrats decided it was Joe and Jill's decision. But do you regret not voicing your opinion in that moment?
Yes, and I actually have reflected on that, and I've written about that. I realized
mattered if you did.
I don't know, but I can only take responsibility for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And on reflection, and I talk about it in the context of asking a question of myself: was that grace to not bring it up to him, or was it reckless? And on my part, I do reflect on that and feel that there was a recklessness about not raising it with him. I talk about what was going through my head, right? And what was going through my head to not bring it up was that it would come off as being very self-serving and therefore maybe lack the credibility that it deserved. But I do think about it. And I also say, though, and I speak extensively about this, my concern about him running for re-election was completely separate from my admiration and knowledge about his capacity to serve as President of the United States, which was consistent and never wavered.
Well, when we sit here, as we sit here today, do you think he would have been up for running the country for 4 more years?
Here's the distinction that I make. It's and having had the experience myself, it is one thing to have the capacity to govern. It is another thing to go through an election for President of the United States. So you are an athlete, you may appreciate this kind of metaphor. Running for President of the United States is like being in a marathon at a sprinter's pace with people throwing tomatoes at you every step you take. It is not for the lighthearted. It takes an incredible amount of endurance and stamina. And can you imagine doing it while you also carrying literally the weight of the world as being President of the United States? So the distinction I make is about capacity to be president and what that election would require in that campaign, especially running against Donald Trump.
And running against Trump, you had the big debate that we all watched. And you said leading up to that debate, you got a call the day of. And the call from President Biden, angry and disappointed. What did he say to you?
So he called me, and again, listen, this book, I am being candid in this book about behind the scenes what happened. And in a way that I hope is helpful for people to understand what that all was. And part of that call that he made to me the afternoon before the debate was to wish me luck, but also to talk about something that was more in his interest than it was in mine, especially in the context of that time. But let me also say this, that a large part of why this book has been written and why I wrote it is I really want to remind the American people, and there are so many stories I tell about in those 107 days being with tens of thousands of people, Michael, people who seemingly have nothing in common, who had enthusiasm and optimism and hope about the future of our country. And I talk about it now and always. We're living in very dark times. These are troubling times. And I hope and I pray that when people read this book, they will remember the light that they had that cannot be diminished by the outcome of one election or the existence of one individual. That light exists in all of us. And we have to see it in each other and let that propel us through these dark days.
And we see your passion for politics. We see your passion for the country. You ruled out that you run for governor, California.
Correct. That's correct.
Are you ruling out a run, or are you ruling out a run for president 2028?
I'm not focused on that right now. I'm really not. I'm really excited about my book tour. You know, I'm excited about being out and listening to folks. I think it's important to listen. Mm-hmm. You know, and elevate people's voices. You know, there's such when I'm out and about, I can't tell you the number of people that come up to me crying.
Well, do you think that writing this book could have burned some bridges, though, that could help you politically?
No, and that's not my intention, and I hope not. You know, if you're talking about the chatter about who I talk about, and we have nothing but stars as far as I'm concerned in the party, and I talk glowingly about who they are and what they're contributing. And frankly, I think that part of the problem that we have right now in terms of the punditry is to suggest that we are waiting for a Messiah and the Savior and the saving message, instead of saying that we actually have a lot of stars who are doing very good work, pushing back, but also talking about what we stand for. And I think it's time that we also recognize that is counterproductive to keep saying who is the one instead in front of us, how rich we are in terms of talent. Mm-hmm. And let's support that.
All right, let's support that. We'll see if people will be supporting you if you announce you're going to run in 2028.
Oh my goodness! I just buy the book. Just buy the book.
All right, former Vice President Kamala Harris, thank you so much for joining us. And yes, go out and buy the book. It is a great read. 107 Days is available now.
It has been 3 weeks since Peoria.
That was really good.
It was okay. She definitely running.
It was okay.
She's not lying.
All right, give me some depth. Y'all saying
Who said that she's definitely running?
Yeah, she dodged that question
she running the other direction. Hopefully.
Nah, she gonna run again in 2028. I ain't got no doubt.
I hope she has better sense than that.
I don't want to see her dragged for this.
I don't want to see no woman running for president.
Oh, y'all don't understand that black woman, that drop in tone. I'm not focused on that. That girl is not thinking about that. She done with y'all. Y'all played in her face.
I agree.
Niggas be thinking they still have the chance. Oh, she do. No, she not. She not fooling with y'all.
I don't know if she gonna win or not, but I think she definitely gonna put her hat in the race again.
I hope she does not.
I don't think so.
That's his opinion. It's okay.
Yeah, she doesn't need.
Let him have his opinion.
No, we're not letting no more people
She's a
have
great
it.
life
Her cherry was already popped.
She's
Really now?
Seriously?
Yeah, her cherry was
That's correct.
Like,
not a virginity cherry. I'm saying that.
I got you.
You know, she already
let me
was
say
there. She didn't win. She's like,
Let me say this because I definitely was one of the ones that was like, okay, you know, I don't think she should have wrote the book, but like I also said, I feel as though
don't make me read what you actually said today. You read your message that you sent me.
What is this, snitch?
I don't know what the fuck is going on with you tonight. But whatever it is, I need you to throw it in the trash, okay?
It wasn't.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me. Go lay down. Go take a nap. So, like I said, you know, I was totally against her writing this book. But after listening to this message, because Mel sent it to me, and I sat and I listened, and I said, well, you know, I always felt as though there was more context than what was being disseminated, right, amongst the airways, because I always know people always want to take your information, they're going to take what you say, they're going to spin it how they want to spin it. And, you know, how she expressed herself today, I think some of the things that people have said in here today, you know, she wanted to tell her side of the story. And that's what she did. She told her side of the story. I still have my own personal opinions when it comes down to it, when it comes down to the Democratic Party and how it might impact moving forward. But again, she spoke with decency and definitely did not put him down in any kind of way. I think she spoke from a politically correct mindset. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Do you think, First Lady, do you think that anything that she said, because you said, oh, now I've heard her side of the story, like there's like new information or like a revelation. Do you think that anything that she said was new or surprising?
No. It was just the way and how she answered the questions. So, for instance, do you think that he should have ran again? She said, listen, it takes a lot to run. It's one thing to already be the president and have that weight on your shoulders, but then to actually have to be the president while everything is going crazy and haywire, and you're running against Donald Trump. On top of that, being the president and running, you get tired. So, to me, that was her way of saying, like, he's tired and
frustrated
and old, but not saying he's tired and old, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
What's some revisionist essence for though? Come on. Like, do you remember how bad that first debate was? That dude was not even.
Oh yeah, the debate.
Like, it wasn't.
The debate is what got him out.
She was.
But what I will say.
Well, was I not talking, man? What's going on?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't even get to a comma, let alone a period. My God.
Oh, I thought that was a period.
It did sound like it, but.
Well, I mean, okay, maybe I took a half a breath or something, but like that was definitely not enough. Anyway, my point was that like we watched that debate with Joe Biden. That guy wasn't just a little bit off. Like, that was a lot off. Like, and there's no way that just happened to be the one episode that he had during that time. Like, I mean, I don't know, man.
Wait, can I
have trouble
add to
hearing
that?
that at this point.
Can I add to that, Your Honor? I saw him immediately the day after the debate because he was speaking for the Gay Pride celebration with Elton John the next day in New York. And so I saw him feebly walking up to the stage, not having any real command. Like, he was fine, but he did not have like the gusto or the verve or anything like that to be able to campaign in the last stretch based on what I was seeing. And people were making up shit. I think it was Hunter Biden, like, yeah, he was on, Ambien or something. I'm like, dude, the debate was at night. Was he taking Ambien at 4 p.m.? Like, this is all fucking stupid. And the way they were trying to sugarcoat it, like, he just didn't look good. Like, we have to own it.
So I believe that there were some issues with the way that they represented it. But the reality and the truth is that the president went to the debate after some travel. And he is older. So how the travel affected him should have been in the calculus for how he did that. My issue with it is the way that the Democrats, the so-called Democrats, dragged him around it. And I believe, my belief is that was it. Once the Democrats started doing that, there was no Democrat that was going to win. None. Because it totally undermined the Democratic Party as a cohesive, as an anything. And so nobody could win. And Kamala, with all her issues notwithstanding, it didn't matter after that point. Because what should have happened is that the Democrats should have rallied and they should have made legitimate, not dismissed what was going on with him, but made legitimate excuses for what was going on with him, and not all that kind of bullshit. Because presidents routinely have bad first debates. They routinely, every sitting president who has run for re-election has had a bad first debate. So you contextualize it that way, and you tell the truth about his exhaustion. But I mean, it's like fucked up. But the Democrats are cannibals, and I will never forgive them for how they handled the Biden situation.
Hey, Dr. AJ. The people around him were lying to him. That's the thing. I actually think that Joe Biden cares about the country enough that if people were honest with him about how bad the polling was, I mean, in
I agree.
The Tapper, in the Jake Tapper book, there's they recount, and I'm sure that this came directly from Pelosi, because sometimes they're like, Pelosi thought, right? And so we know that Pelosi is the source. That she, that the dramatic scene of her going to him and saying, this is what the polling is saying. They're saying you have a 5% chance here and a 20% chance here. And it was all new to him. I think if he had really known before that fateful weekend in July that he would have dropped out of the race. But they were telling him that he could win, and he couldn't have.
Yeah, I believe you on that, Kimberly, and I have no argument with that, because that's the way that you handle things. You handle them in private, behind closed doors, and you don't you don't do things that humiliate a person. That's my only thing. I don't disagree with that. And I put a note in the chat that said, when Kamala was saying all her shit, I'm like, yeah, but you should have gone to him. If you had gone to him at an earlier point and laid these things out, then a primary could have been had, or something could have been arranged at the convention. It could have been a little different, even if it was 30 days, 60 days before. So I don't disagree with you, Kimberly. I don't disagree.
I think that's where I am. I'm listening to her, and I love her down, like Kamala Stan, and I'm just like, I mean, yes, she should have a voice. It was her experience, write a book and all that. But I'm just really thinking about like winning and the harm things do, and like just jumping on board and getting, what did they say, getting on code, which it seems the other side does much better. And I think that airing these things out publicly, while they may be true, like I just don't know if it's helpful right now. Like, can we just wait till we get some power back to start talking about our counterparts already?
I agree. Now, if she'd have continuously dragged Trump the way she did, because, bringing out the fact, and again, this is the reason why I thought this was a really good clip, because she's reminding the people that's not what you voted for. Okay. And even today, as we sit here 9 months later, we have people shifting, saying, oh, no, that's not what I voted for. And I'm like, you lie. That's not what you were saying during the campaign. That's not what you were saying. You were saying you want reprieve today, and you want everything to go back the way it was. And Trump is going to give you that. And this is what he promised you. So stop.
Yeah, we're also forgetting the run-up to that debate. So the conservatives all day, every day, were saying that this man is half dead. They called him Sleepy Joe. They said that he had some type of brain event. I'm not exactly sure. They highlighted every stumble. They used propaganda in terms of like pictures to make it look like he was this doddering old man who was sundowning. And during the whole time, surrogates and the Democrats were like, these are all lies. This is bull crap. He's going to eviscerate Trump, this, that, and the third. So when the shock of what happened at the debate happened, a lot of people were in terror, myself included. Now, I was going to vote blue, no matter what, he could have been comatose, I was going to vote for him. But I legitimately thought he was having a stroke on national TV. I legitimately thought that there may be something to what the maggots are saying. So in my mind, if I, as I'm an anti-Republican and I will vote no matter what is on the blue ticket, are thinking that way, I don't see how many people who are on the fence, weren't going to vote, blah, 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 are going to be all that excited to get back on the trail. Now, I agree that you can recover from a bad debate. Like, I recall Obama's first debate was just not that great. But this is something entirely different, and it was a lead up to something. And so you have people believing that President Kankles is the epitome of masculine virility, and this is what is being put up against him. And so in principle, I do believe that Biden's advisors should have nipped his thoughts of presidency in the bud from the get-go. But, hindsight is 2020. It's 2020. I think Biden was a tremendous president, but I also believe that he is a peacetime president. He has no fight. He didn't have what it took to stab the enemy in the political jugular. And that's a fact, and that's what needed to happen. I'm done.
I agree.
Yeah, the other thing is Biden, he went back on his promise because he had promised that he only intended to be a one-term president and that he saw himself as a transitional figure. And that was the whole justification for even choosing Kamala Harris as the running mate, right? This idea of this new, more diverse generation of leadership. So he went back on that promise, but also if it had been sincere from the beginning, I think that they would have had, he said this, talking to me about how do y'all know this, but he had said he was going to be a transitional figure when he was running when he was doing the primary in 2019, because initially it didn't look like he was doing that well in the primary, and that was kind of his sales pitch. But the way that Kamala Harris was kind of sidelined as a VP, or not really brought in as much as she should have, if indeed he was planning to transition it all along.
I want to say one thing just about Biden.
Yes.
And I said this on the app at the time. I saw him speak in April of that year, and I went in there expecting to see the man who showed up on the debate stage, and he actually was good. He was good, actually good. And so when that debate happened, I actually thought he was going to kick Trump's ass. I really did, because I saw him. He moved around like an old man, he had that kind of stiff lumbar thing going on. But other than that, he was interacting with the crowd. He was effective. He was playful. He was actually pretty good. I was impressed. So I do think that there's some ability for other people to have had that kind of experience in terms of the people who saw him infrequently. And I do think that there's some people who earnestly felt kind of seems like he's okay. A little, stumbly as an old man, but outside of that, okay. So I just want to throw that out there.
When she said in the GMA interview, and she said in a number of her interviews, emphasizing there's a lot of stars in the Democratic Party. There's a lot of stars. Do y'all agree with that? Do you feel that way?
Say it again. What was the question?
Kind of, sort of. Yep.
I mean,
she said a number of times there's a lot of stars in the Democratic Party. So I'm just wondering how people feel about it.
I believe it, and I'm going to say it regardless.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was another, like that was a colon.
Period.
Period.
No, there's good people, there's stars, but and she's not dumb. She knew what the real question was, right? Do we have that person? And I like her answer about we shouldn't be looking for that person, like, because we shouldn't be a cult. The other side is a cult, and they need that leader. We have a lot of leaders. They just aren't like this super figurehead that we have to follow. And you'll also see they're doing it with like Charlie Kirk, and they just need to be following somebody, a person, a figure. We don't really do that. But it was a good way to avoid answering the question. The real answer to the question is no. We do not have a Trump. We do not have a Charlie Kirk. We don't have any.
I mean, Democrats do that. What's going on? We just didn't have.
Wait, catch up. The Republicans, they don't care.
What is
you
it
ask
saying?
them, do we have stars? They will drag the bottom of their grandmother's cedar chest for the carcass, beat her chest, and say that person is great. What's going on?
That's a
This
fact.
is the problem.
They'll pick somebody from the outhouse.
I'm not
That's
talking.
why I said what I
I'm not talking at all. I guess my mic is broke. You're looking for perfection, and this is how losses are gained. What's going on?
I get what you're
It
saying.
doesn't matter if the person's perfect. You put them in the race and you push them. You push them, whatever it is. You get them to jump over the huddle, whatever. You support your person. This integrity and this morality and we're the better whatever. That's what's got us fucked in the game.
But people Republican voters chose Trump. The establishment people, the RNC people, they did not want him. The Fox News people, they did not want him. They tried to freeze him out. The Trump movement was, unfortunately, like a real quote-unquote populist push. And so if we're gonna have somebody, our Trump, we have somebody who can do that, who can galvanize, who can draw people in, who has the charisma and the media savvy. I'm not sure if we're seeing that. I don't know. I do like John Ossoff.
Kimberly, don't you think we can get somebody who can do that for 10% of the people, and those 10% of the people can rally enough to convince the other people to come along and join? I mean, it's not like Donald Trump has overwhelming support. He just has his little niche population.
But he has
and
rabid.
He somehow managed to outnoise the other people. I don't think you have to have that many people. We or you, whoever is supporting the person, that team just have to be loud.
But he has rabid support, you know?
Yeah, blind supporters.
He has
That's
the cult of
thing.
personality.
Yeah, and the Democrats are incapable of that because they gonna find.
Which is a good thing, though.
They gonna find the pill at the back of the sweater.
Y'all, 2008 is not that long ago. Barack Obama had rabid support. 60,000, yes, 60,000, 70,000.
Kimberly.
Well, by the time, yes, that's okay. You know what? You're right.
He had to work for it.
Yeah, but Trump
and
didn't
his
either.
supporters did that work and got the other people on board. Come on.
Right, and nobody.
Yeah, but Trump didn't have the support in the beginning either.
That's my point.
He turned his support into a cult, though. Like, he doesn't have support.
Who fucking cares? I don't care if they join the cult. I want my grandmama, both my grandparents are dead, but I want my niece's grandparents to have their Medicare. Like, I don't care if the people join the cult. I don't have to join the cult. I want Medicare. I want these young children who are disabled and who have intellectual disabilities to have the support that they need in the schools. That's what I want. I want these women that are out here trying to raise their families. They're decent, hardworking women. I want them to have support. I want them to know that if I only make $250 this month, a check for $350 is in the mail, and I can feed my kids, I can pay my bills, and I can clothe them. That's what I want. I give fuck less.
I'm not
if
saying
they create a cult.
I'm not
I
saying
don't have to be in it. I
I'm
don't
not
have to be in
saying
the cult.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like to try to find somebody like Trump. You're not about to find that on the Democratic side. You just need to find a good.
We don't need it. We don't want it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Like we don't need that.
But in terms of, not in terms of being similar to
Wait,
Trump.
why don't
but-
we need it or want it? I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Kimberly. That's what I'm stuck on. That's what I'm.
But we need just enough. I'm saying I don't need like the mirror image of him on the Democratic side.
Yeah.
That's what.
But I think in terms of
I want the enthusiasm, and I want the even blind loyalty. I don't mind that, but I don't want all the bad stuff that comes.
I don't want the blind loyalty either, because like we got to be able to actually have politicians that are able to admit to wrong, and we need them to be held accountable, like to their voters. Trump is not that. Like to go completely in the opposite direction isn't a better thing either.
I don't want my politicians.
See, that's that Democrat purity.
Yeah, I
Purity. See,
I said I don't.
That's purity. I'm not
It's
asking for.
morality and virtue.
I'm not asking for a perfect candidate.
Break the law.
But you're asking for morality and virtue.
No, I'm not. I just
That's
asked for.
virtuous, though.
I just asked him to not be a cult leader.
I'm okay with the cult. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm fucking
That's what I was saying earlier. We need that.
I feel like in terms of the groundswell of support and the genuine enthusiasm and the fervor, I honestly think that that's what Bernie Sanders had in 2016. And I think that it was a really big mistake on the part of the DNC to, like, there's been so much reporting about the DNC bias toward Hillary Clinton. And there was the, leaked
Because he
emails.
wasn't in the party.
But Bernie's not a Democrat. What's going on?
Well, he was running in the Democratic primary, and he had a lot of fucking support.
When I skate, I wear my Russian
No, but I
T-shirt.
think
They
the
not
point-
gonna put me on the Olympic
I
team.
think the point Malak is making is that
want
when
to
we're
win?
talking about a cult
You want to
leader,
be a Democrat.
when we're talking about a cult leader, Bernie Bros were that. I would say that
Yes.
definitely.
They were.
And further, Bernie Bros, when their man got silenced by the DNC,
They voted for
they
Trump.
went for Trump.
Exactly.
They were Trumpsters all along.
They just want a white man to follow. Well, you just did it, but you know what I mean. They just want somebody to follow.
I didn't
Bernie had that same kind of energy of like, the system is fucking you and the system needs to change it. Like, whatever that thing is.
That's called populism. Hello?
Exactly. That gets people riled up, that they can believe in, that they feel like they want to go out and vote, and they had that. And then they did so many things, the DNC, to their way to push Hillary Clinton instead of going with the people. And I think that was a big mistake.
Well, I don't know. Okay, wait a second. Okay, so Bernie has a rabid support for sure. I'm getting caught up when you say instead of going with the people. I believe that Democrats want to vote for Democrats. I understand that Democratic Party ID has waned significantly, like dropped significantly since 2016.
Yeah.
But when I think about Democrats, like people, like honestly, I'm talking about negresses, okay? There is a hump. They would have voted for Bernie for sure, but I do think that it would have been tough to sell to those people that we're gonna go with this person who don't really even care about the party like that.
I hear you, but I think
And say it all black
for
people
me,
live
let
in
me just say
projects.
this.
What the fuck is going on?
For me, from what I see, the way that Democrats win is on turnout. If they can get the voter turnout that they need, they win. If they don't get the voter turnout that they need and people stay home or whatever, they lose. So if you're thinking about who is going to be able to get the most people out to vote, in the context of 2016, I think that was Bernie.
Bernie wasn't gonna get black women out.
No,
to
he
vote.
was
I
not
don't know
gonna
what
get
is
black
going
women
on.
out there. That's crazy.
No black women was rallying for Bernie.
He
like
did
that.
not
I'm
move
sorry.
black women, and
I'm
he didn't
sorry.
care about black women.
And
Let's
if
be
he
honest.
didn't get black women, he wasn't gonna win. So I don't know what this preoccupation. I don't know what this
Just
revisionist
because he had a
preoccupation
black
is with Bernie.
woman, just because he had a black woman on his team does not mean he was going to get the black vote.
The black women
Do you remember when Simone Sanders was Simone Sanders? I remember getting emails from Simone Sanders because she was his press secretary. Crazy times.
And I didn't really buy into that because Simone gonna go with her bag.
Oh no,
So,
she's just ambitious. Yeah.
Yeah. She gonna go where her bag at. So that wasn't an endorsement for me.
But yeah, Bernie repelled black people when he didn't have to.
Exactly.
I have no idea, like, why. And you know what? I began to believe, and I could be wrong, but I began to believe that he is playing into racism as a strategy. And so I understand that he has a rabid base, but that rabid base cannot elect Bernie Sanders on their own. And, the very fact that a sizable number of them would defect to Donald Trump tells me that really that's not our candidate. It's not.
Y'all watching the chat?
Who the hell
Yeah, I
is
see that.
CNBC?
Yeah,
What's going on in the chat? Let me see. What's happening?
Them Bernie
Somebody
Bros pages
weirdo.
were hell back in the.
They want attention, and we're about to give it to them, but they could just
Stay focused.
Well, I just
Let me
asked
say
if
this.
security is here.
That whole thing of like all the Bernie Bros.
Oh, so I'm not security. Great.
Security is
Let me just say
here.
this. I didn't like Bernie or Hillary at the time, so I've been
Miss
calling
Lady,
Bernie
I don't
Bro
want you
here
at
a
the
lot.
door.
I'm gonna sit down.
So let me just say this. I wasn't for Bernie or Hillary. I was extremely disappointed in that election cycle. But the claim that there was like a ton of Bernie Bros switched over to Trump just isn't borne out by the facts. You can look this up. It's been debunked a lot of times. It's not like substantially more than like other switches that happened between other candidates, like the Hillary voters not voting for Obama, for example. But you can look that up. I do think that there's a lot to be said for candidates who really have like the courage of their convictions generally performing better. There was a study that was done recently. I'd have to look it up, but I'm outside right now. But basically it showed that there's like a 1.2%, if I remember right, bump for being more centrist. But there's actually a larger bump for being like more of a charismatic candidate. Like admittedly, is this perfectly scientific? Like how do you measure charisma is a question that I had when I was reading this. But having the courage of your convictions is attractive. And Democrats have run a lot of people who did not do a good job of showing that they had the courage of their convictions far too often in my lifetime. Probably had people like that, and it just doesn't work. And especially now, when there's the opportunity to go so much deeper and people expect you to do like a long form interview and this kind of stuff, and you can't just say the same thing over and over and over again and win. They need to learn that lesson. I think a lot of the Democrats have some of the more impressive ones, and I think that, you can have either like a more progressive take on something, like say a Mike Levin, who won in Orange County, even though he's like very green. And you can win in a place like Orange County as long as you still have the courage of your convictions more broadly. And so I just we need people with more charisma. It will work, even if they're like maybe to my right. That's okay, but at least believe what you believe.
How do you feel about Zohan over in New York?
He's a good example of someone who has the courage of their convictions, and it's sexy, and people like it. So he's probably going to win because of it.
Yeah, no,
I think it
he
was
is going to
New
win.
York.
This is a mess.
So wait a minute, hold up. So let me ask y'all. So do y'all think that Bernie would have won with the Trump election over Hillary?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Can I tell you why? Because nobody's going to say it, but I can say it.
Go ahead.
Apart from the fact that he is a self-described democratic socialist, which he didn't have the chance to get beat up in the general election because of that, because people don't understand what that actually is, which is not that scary, by the way, which is what New Yorkers are figuring out with Zoran. But number two, because nobody wants to say it, he's a Jew.
Right. I knew.
And America's not gonna. Yeah, exactly. And I'm sorry.
And number
it's just
three.
America's not doing that.
Number 3, he anti-black. Number 3.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's legit.
Now, I didn't know that.
I'm just saying. Well, I'm just saying she makes a fair point. I just think the Jewish things are non-starter. That's why I don't like even the talk of like, oh, Josh Shapiro should run. It's a non-starter for people. I don't think people understand how much of a non-starter it is.
I don't know. I like John Ossoff a lot.
He may be able to sneak by because he's from Georgia.
Yeah, I was gonna say he might get a hall pass because he's a Southern Jew. Yeah, he might get a hall pass.
Not a son. Oh.
Yeah, he's Southern. He's from the South.
But that makes a difference because you're from the
I think so. In the national politics, I would think.
But are we still on that to the point where, as in, given the current climate, people would still be like against voting for a Jewish man?
Now so, more than ever, I'd say. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm not. I said
hers.
Well, so many people talked about the fact that Kamala Harris was even married to a Jewish man. So.
I mean, she mentions it in the book, right? Like that was a big thing. It was a recurring theme that people brought.
It's enough for people on the far right and the far left to rally around. I guarantee you.
But that's the thing, though. Like, I understand the conversation, and I'm hearing what you guys are saying, but we also need to make sure that we understand the party to the right likes to just throw enough mud to just dirty. Trump didn't win because of outstanding numbers. He won because people didn't want to vote. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the other part is, and to Kamala Harris in her interview last night, that was one of the other things that she brought up. Like, is she going to have to go on stage and show people her vagina because they're like literally going to say she's not a guy? I mean, I've seen everybody in this room, pretty much everybody in this room we debated. How many times do we have to have a stupid debate about how Kamala Harris is actually black? You know, and I think that's the real kind of thing that the next election is going to have to come down to is how do you handle all the mudslinging? How do you handle that the other party can just, I mean, Trump, like, what was Trump's platform? He came on stage and said he had concepts of thoughts and fucking an idea of a plan.
End all the wars on day one.
And it's so crazy because
So my answer to that, Thomas, is you don't have a debate about that. That's stupid. And you don't allow people to engage you in that. And you call it out every time. What does that have to do with what is at stake? Right? But there's some kind of investment that people have in securing blackness for certain people. And I think that's more of the problem, right? But I can say I've never had that debate. Never. I didn't engage.
It was so strange that was brought up.
And I'm
that
very
was never
politically active, just for the record.
But that was never, being black was never a requirement for any of the previous people running for president. It just became this strong requirement for her for some reason. She
They
ain't
had
black.
it for Obama too. Don't forget.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Was
know.
Obama black enough?
Oh, yes, it was.
He wasn't an American. Remember when they tried to declassify Hawaii as a state?
Well, they were saying he wasn't American and stuff like that,
No,
but they did not say
they
he
had
was-
the black thing too.
Well,
Go
they
back
said
to
he
So,
came out of
so,
Hawaii,
Fred.
China.
So,
check
Fred.
the media.
So,
that.
Fred, remember, if you recall, right, you may not, but like, I remember when, like, Obama was actually suffering pretty significantly against Hillary Clinton. And, like, his black card was kind of
the black vote.
Right, exactly, with the black vote specifically. Thank you, Dr. AG. And his black card was kind of being measured against Hillary Clinton's to a certain degree, which
because
is
she
weird,
was
of
married
course,
to
just
Bill
saying
who
it.
played the saxophone.
No, because of Hillary Clinton's own record.
Record, exactly.
Her
It was
own record.
Okay.
And it was actually Bill Clinton who kind of got her in trouble when you actually
So
saw
what
the
we're
tide
saying
shift.
is anybody with dark skin who runs, regardless of all the white presidents we've had, anybody with darker skin, we're gonna say how dark are you before we can vote for you.
Ron, are you listening? Are you listening?
No, I am, but
The race thing.
Go ahead, Kimberly.
Okay, so the race thing, I think, has two things in there. One is, are you a liar, right? I think a lot of it was people being like, can we trust this person? You know, the lying Democrat, she's just a lying, conniving, whatever. There's that. And of course, that's tied to misogyny.
Because Trump is trustworthy.
Right. That's the thing, right? But there's already this thing about the Democrats. The Democrats, all they do is lie. And then there's women lie and they manipulate, okay? But then the other thing is, there is this racial identity post first black president, I think takes on a new meaning. And we get this ADOS thing. We get this FBA thing where people are much more, I always use the word provincial, right? They are much more like, this is mine. You can't take this from me. You're trying to steal my identity from me. And I think a part of that is social media and the internet. And so Kamala is like in the center of this swirl of cultural shit. And there's so many things in that tornado. It was going to be so hard for her to get out of it. You know, people already were like, we had a black president and he didn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. And then we have misogyny, then we have FBA. It was too much.
Yeah, I get that.
And Kimberly, my thing was, when I said to Ron, are you listening? My initial point was, you don't engage at that level. Right? You don't debate another person's blackness. Like, what is going on? What's happening? What's the investment in doing that? That was my question. And of course, you know, I understand what the investment is, but the question remains.
Doctor, but how? Okay, so I'm pretty masterful when it comes to avoiding certain things. But when you have like what she had to go through and what she experienced when it came down to, because even Trump said it on stage, I think during the debate, you know, she's not even black. He said it at that convention. What was it? The journalist convention, the black journalist. Yeah, exactly. You know, is she black? Is she really black? You know, like, how do you combat something like that?
Why?
You know,
why
you just ignore it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying, do you just ignore it?
So my thing is, he said it. Why is it not about him saying it rather than you proving that it's not true?
Because it was eating into the base of support that she needed to win the election.
So the people are like, maybe she
I'm
is
sorry.
black.
No, it was a male voice.
If I can jump in.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
if I can just jump in.
So, do you see what I'm saying, First Lady? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, go ahead, because you can't contain it.
Sorry, no, it's just the fact that on Clubhouse.
No, we don't do that, Thomas. We gotta let people land. Let her finish.
Sorry about that.
You just gonna go ahead and take it. You want a beating? You want a cantata? What is it called? A chocolata? Go ahead, Chancleta.
So do you see what I'm saying? Because once you allow that argument to be your focal point, you're already off the game. You're already behind, right? But what you do is you flip it. Why is he saying that? What does it say about him that that's a point he wants to make? And you let that be your argument. That's all.
I think if she had had more time, there would have been opportunity to flip it and take hold of it. I think that Trump exploited this FBA 80 stuff, and they recognized that FBA 80's Are You Really Black discourse was eating into the base of support that she needed to win the election.
Absolutely.
Bingo.
Absolutely. And then they amplified it by agreeing to it and participating in it and being convinced by it.
Thomas, one mic on you, sir.
I mean, I hear what you're saying and I understand. The only problem is that on Clubhouse, yeah, it's easy to just, disregard it. But when you have someone of that stature who's deeply flawed and lying, right? I mean, you can't, there's no getting around it. I mean, we tried when they go low, we go high, and yes, we can take the moral high ground, but that shit don't work. It just doesn't work.
Obama flipped it when they were obsessed with Obama's where he was born and whether he was a citizen or not. Obama's team, they flipped it. They were like, "Why is he so obsessed with my nationality and where I was born?"
Right, and the man that started that is now president of the United States. It doesn't work.
But Thomas, this is the thing, though. First of all, I don't debate on Clubhouse, right? I have conversations on Clubhouse. So my comment comes from what I do outside. That's why I preface it by saying that I am very politically active, right? So I get it, but the impulse to highlight the other person's flaws, the impulse to be better, that's the thing you have to overcome. Because the priority is to focus people on the thing that's going to help you win. And if you're over here arguing who's the blackest black, all black, everything, you're not amplifying this other thing.
I clearly understand that. Like, I really do. The only problem is you can't ignore it. At no point, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, there's no ignoring it.
You can't have to ignore it, though.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what we're saying.
No, I never said you ignore it.
We're saying that we need to flip it, right?
Yeah, that's not ignoring it.
That's a strategy.
It is a strategy, but it's a strategy that doesn't work. That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't work just because.
All right, one at a time. Let him finish. Wait a minute. Let him finish, because we go ahead. Get it out. Get what you're saying out.
No.
I'm trying to understand.
Because the only thing I'm trying to say is I understand. Okay, cool. We have to flip it. We have to find a way to change the narrative of why this white man is trying to point out this woman's blackness, or any candidate's nationality, race, creed, or whatever they're trying to support. The problem is that the candidate is a liar. And I was said last night with Kamala Harris, I'm going to lower the bills, but by the way, Kamala Harris isn't black. And it's going to be, and I think the next candidate that's going to come after Trump is just going to be 20 times worse. And that's the problem.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
But Thomas, what you're stuck on is, I'm sorry, I thought you.
No, yeah, he's done. He's done.
What you're stuck on is proving the other person bad. Or thinking about how bad they are.
No, I'm not. I'm really not. No, I'm not. Stop, please putting words in my mouth.
You just said that, though.
I know. I'm trying to say there needs to be another strategy besides trying to take the high road. I'm sorry.
Nobody
I
said
want to
that's
believe
taking
with
the
you.
high road.
Okay, all right.
Thomas,
Communication.
Nobody said the
Communication.
high road.
You're misinterpreting what I'm saying for the very reason that I'm saying it. Because the idea that you would not combat this thing head on is seen as either ignoring it or on the high road. And I'm saying that there are different ways to combat it without getting dragged down into an argument that you cannot win. You can't win the argument on, is this person black? You can't win that. There's no winning. So what you do is you leverage the question. What does the questioner, what is their investment in that? And how does that serve the country, right? So nobody's saying you ignore. Nobody's saying take the high road, right? It's just a different strategy for engaging around the larger issue that the question itself represents. Because you can't win. You just going back and forth forever. That's all.
Yeah, Thomas, you said that he's a liar. So it's a waste of resources to try to combat directly what he's saying if we're starting from the framework that he's a liar. It's futile. So you have to come up with a different strategy.
All right, Malak wants to speak. But let me ask y'all this real quick. So are you saying, really what I like is examples, because maybe for, Thomas, I see Brooklyn saying, she definitely sees why Thomas is frustrated. Maybe because the way Dr. H.E. and Johnny's are structuring it, it's hard to get an idea of what that example could be. So if you ladies could give us like an example, okay, that was said. Now, what do? You're saying to do what? Like, give me an example. Is there an example that you can give?
Well, I named what Obama did as an example, but Thomas jumped to
right. But we got
Trump.
Let's deal with the Trump person.
It's always a two-prong approach. Just like earlier in the conversation, we were talking about how Kamala needed to respond, and I said you do a two-prong approach. She doesn't have to be the one that does the clapback. Okay. You designate, you delegate. You have surrogates that do that. The principal doesn't have to be the one that matches the same energy. She just has to focus on what her strategy is. You have other people that do that. It's all you don't have just one course of action, and your course of action doesn't have to be a reaction. I think that's where we get into problems when we're trying to triage everything.
And it's simple, right? He's over here trying to get y'all to figure out if I'm black. I'm over here trying to keep your companies in the black. What do you want? That's what I'm talking about.
No, that is bars.
You just move it, but pivot. You use that.
That's good. That's good. I like that.
But this
have to be strategic and savvy.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure. I'm sorry. I am just so excited. The difficulty is that she inherited these campaign people. And these campaign people, who are also on my ship, they were prepared to construct a campaign for an 80-something-year-old white man from Delaware. They weren't prepared to construct a campaign, meaning messaging, counter-messaging, op-ed researcher for a Jamaican and Indian woman from California. And so if there were competent strategists, media messengers, then that probably could have happened. It's not happening with Jen O'Malley Dillon as the campaign manager. Like, they just didn't know what to do with her.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say the other thing about it was, and it was genius when Trump did it with the, you're not even really black, was that was a criticism coming from technically Kamala's side with the ADOS and the FBA people. So, like, it's kind of hard to defend because now you're catching it from one side, but it's honestly a criticism that he just co-opted from your own people. Like, that makes it difficult to combat.
Well, they could have easily anticipated it. I'm sorry. Like, the issue is that anybody who is even vaguely familiar with the internet or these conversations have seen that coming from a mile away. You don't see it coming from a mile away. I already said why you wouldn't see it. But yes, they just weren't prepared with adequate messaging. And she's a woman, right? Like, oh, I'm sorry, my last thing is, it's difficult to compare Harris to Obama because men can do things that women can't do. You know, like I came away from this book liking Harris a lot more with the better understanding of all of the landmines that she was trying to navigate. You want to be strong, but women succeed on the national stage when they are seen as a connector. What was the word? There's like a word for it. You have to be a unifier. You can't be on the attack. You have to be conciliatory, right? Bringing people together. So when you're getting all of these nasty attacks and you don't have infrastructure to counter message effectively, you're just out there. She's just out there, just getting pummeled. Okay.
I was going to say Mike Donnellan deserves to be on your list of campaign staffers.
Your Honor, Mike Donnellan, Anita Dunn, all of those people. I'm not going to cuss them, but yeah, they've been on my shit list for a long time.
Yeah.
Ron Klain, shit list.
Him too, absolutely.
I will say, though, I do agree about, like, the people around her because I don't think it's something she should have responded to directly. Like, every black person in the Democratic Party should have been up in arms, straight up.
But that's the thing. We can't never get on code for nothing. Like, we can't stick together. Hello? We got people over here, co-signing what Trump is saying, actually giving him pointers to actually go back and attack her. It's like, come on. Oh, my God. So every time I just think about that whole campaign trail, those 107 days.
So we don't even have to think of the campaign. We can even watch now, right? This is the thing now. You have all these so-called Democrats running around here saying, the Democrats aren't doing anything. When are they going to stand up? When are they going to fight back? Oh my God, look at him. He's doing this. I can't believe it. Like, what is going on? Nobody is above critique, without a doubt. Nobody is above critique, right? But circling the wagons is a thing that Democrats really need to learn. It's not that hard, and they really need to learn it. They are their own worst enemy. They give their enemy all the ammunition they need to take them down. And until they figure that part out, it's always going to be this back and forth. It's always going to be that way.
So, Doctor, did it ever, go
more so normal. My bad. Go.
Oh, Brian wants to speak. Malak never got a chance to get the mic back either. But Doctor, quick question. Is there ever a time where the Democrats, you saw how, like, Mike Johnson and them, he couldn't get his base together and, the Republicans when it came down to voting and stuff like that, but they kept on meeting, they kept on talking, they kept on communicating, and they left the Democrats out so that they could hash it out because they weren't all on the same board. Do the Democrats have that, like, kind of powwow kind of thing?
See, I will leave a more probably objective response to someone who identifies as a Democrat. As somebody who does not identify as a Democrat, I would say no, the Democrats aren't really capable of doing that kind of thing because their principle is the principle. and they organize around the righteousness of the principle. So they don't want to be seen as people who are violating. They don't want to be seen as the people who are not doing the virtuous or the moral or the right thing. And I think that, I'm sorry, I think for the past 15 to 20 years, that has been a handicap for the Democrats. But I'm biased, so somebody else may be able to give a more objective answer.
The Democrats. Electorally? Or, I mean, like, I should not say electorally, that didn't make sense. Do we mean, like, in Congress or out in the world?
In Congress. Oh. In Congress.
Because, I did read Nancy Pelosi's. Okay, it's been a long year. And Nancy Pelosi.
I like
wasn't
her
really,
book, by the way.
Yes, and especially I wasn't expecting to even care about. She spent a lot of time on some of that legislation stuff. Okay, right, but she got it passed. She got the votes. She kept her caucus together, and she talked about how good Harry Reid was at keeping the caucus together, getting people in line. And now that Pelosi, I don't know. We're never gonna get another Nancy Pelosi.
The other thing is, though, you gotta think, like, once Obama became president, the way the politics work changed. There used to be, different factions within both parties, the Republicans and the Democrats. And the Republicans, when he became president, they just locked in, no matter what, anti-Obama, we don't care. And it continued with Trump, and it's even worse, because, like I said, cult of personality. The Democrats still working like, that old normal way of politics. So there are going to be disagreements. They may have like legitimate concerns where they're not going to agree with another Democrat. And that's not wrong. Like, that's the way it's supposed to be. However, the way our country is fucked up, so it makes it ineffective.
Brian, Young, and Malak, y'all still haven't had a chance to get in there. Brian, Malak, Brian.
I was just going to say to what Dr. A.G. was hitting upon. It's that adage, I'll say I've heard it for decades, that, Democrats fall in love, Republicans fall in line. I've read a lot of Bob Woodward's books, over the Orange one's first, time in office, and I continue to plug his audio book, The Trump Tapes, and it's his interviews with him throughout his first administration, and how it's not just him, but some of the people around him, and he after the grab him by the P video came out, how the Republicans facing the camera were all in line, but behind closed doors, they was like a hair, that close to trying to get him off the ticket. And it just reminds me of, speaking from my experience in my family, I assume many of us have had this where, like, look, if you don't argue in the streets, let's keep that in-house. They are consistent with a united front, even though they don't like the people that are in their team, but they continue to have a united front. But behind closed doors, they panicking. They trying to do what they can to get the ones that they know are damaging to them out of the way, off the ticket, out of the party. But then, I don't like using either absolutes or generalizing all of us. But I will say, I would assume many of us, when we look at Mike Johnson, hell, I call him Bitch McConnell, but that's just my personal grievance. But these cats in front of the camera are all, everything's great. Hey, tell us about the Republican from Ohio who is, I'm drawing a blank on him, but the one who has some alleged history of turning a blind eye to what the wrestlers at a college.
Jordan.
Yeah, thank you. couldn't remember it. One would think I'm in Ohio right now. But anyway, in front of the camera, they're like, everything's gravy. And that's one of my criticisms, and just grinds my gears with the Democratic leadership or party. This is the references to times past. I take that with a grain of salt. This is uncharted territory, and trying to play fair, trying to play by the rules in a fight when the other side doesn't acknowledge there are rules. In my opinion, I'm not going to say it's a loss, but it definitely makes it harder to win.
But respectfully, Brian, it's not true that there were Republicans who came out and to resign. The current Senate Majority Leader was one of the people who said after the grab him by the pee thing came out that Trump should step aside and let Pence take the top. But there were other, I wish I could remember other names, but there were other senators. I think that both sides do the thing where we pretend like the other side is so together. No, there's a lot of discord on both sides. Trump basically has bullied like 10 people out of not running for re-election at this point. I think that Trump has a thing where he just will keep plowing ahead no matter what. It's the shamelessness of Trump. It is the, I don't give a fuck, like, yeah, I did say that, but I'm not dropping out. So, it's almost his, actually, I was going to say it was almost his willingness to, bring the party down. But actually, I'm critiquing Biden for that. But, Trump could pull it off, though. He knew he had the support. Oh, that's the big difference between Trump and Biden. Trump had the people. Biden knew by the summer of 2024, or the Biden people knew, I don't know if Biden knew, that they did not have the people. They did not have the average Democratic Party voter anymore.
And I acknowledge, there were, forgive me if I didn't speak on that more vocally. Yeah, I acknowledge during his first term, the orange one, there were Republicans who were like, yo, but I think you said it better. He's a bully. And it's like, he doesn't take no for an answer, which is obvious by how many sexual assault, convictions against them. But I acknowledge that. I was just saying, simply put, historically, it seems consistent that Democrats fall in love and Republicans fall in line, no matter what.
You're not lying about that.
We just need somebody that we would lay down in traffic for.
Because you got to remember, with the first time Trump ran, he said all that crazy stuff about Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz said, I'm not going to endorse Trump. He went up right before the National Convention and said, vote what your heart believes, all this stuff. And then, shortly before the election, he goes and he's like, you know what? Trump had a good list of candidates for, the Supreme Court, and he fell in line. A lot of them, pay that lip service all the way up until, the actual point of where you got to put that, where the rubber meets the road, and then they'll back down with them.
That's a fact.
Well, the thing is that why are we acting like it's a magical thing here? The problem is that when you have propaganda supporting or saying all the nonsensical shit that you're saying and spewing, there's some point where the fact is the power is the people, right? Because those same senators that you were talking about, Kimberly, that didn't want to vote for Jim Jeffers to be Speaker of the House, those same senators got all death threats. And all of a sudden they wanted to stand locked behind Trump, And I think that's the real essence here, is because of the fact that you have someone that spews this nonsensical crap, and then suddenly all his people want to talk lockstep. It's the weirdest thing. When you talk to a lot of Democrats, we have a lot of different ideas about what we should do. But you talk to a Trumpian, their whole ideas are exactly the same, which means that they only get it from one damn source, which is Trump. It's not magical. It's just that's the reason that Russia put in what? I think the DOJ exposed that Russia was paying influencers $100,000 for spreading all the nonsensical BS.
Yeah, Ben Johnson and Tim Pool.
But
Right.
the ability to do that is magic, though. Like I mean, we have to. Okay, look, I hate Donald Trump. I hate Donald. I know the FBI is listening. I hate Donald Trump. But there is something remarkable about his ability to bring all of these factions together. His ability to, on day one, be like, oh, we're going to invest in the American worker. And then he goes and says, oh, no, corporate tax cut. And then next, labor rights. And then next, we're gutting the NLRB. And then everybody believes the shit. Because, like, he just has the ability to, like, go from place to place and say whatever people want to hear, and then they believe it. But that's a magic skill. We need a magician.
We don't need a liar in the office. But hold on, because here's the thing. His ability to lie is his what we want to call magic skill. But the truth of the matter of fact is, a lot of it has just been bullshit talking points because he can point to a common enemy. It worked for Adolf Hitler. It worked for every other third party, every third dictator. And it's working for him now. Oh, I'm sorry, your bills are too high. It's because of all these illegal immigrants coming across the border. I'm sorry that your gas is expensive. It's because of all these illegal immigrants. Whatever your problem is, insert X. Right. And it's like, and it's one of those inserts, whatever your problem is, insert X, and then all of a sudden, here, I'm going to be your, what did he say? I'm going to be your refuge. Whatever crap he pulled out. And the truth of the matter of fact, there's nothing magical about hate. It's just hate. This country is built off of hate. It was built off the backs of our forefathers. It was built off the backs of our relatives. That's why they want to erase our fucking history and tell us slavery happened 8,000 years ago, even though I have pictures of my grandfather in bondage. It disgusts me every time. But there's nothing magical about hate. It's just fucking hate. Call it for what it is. We don't need another liar to represent the Democratic Party to tell us that, hey, you know what, we're going to make all your bills magically go away. But there's something that we have to do to combat it. And I'm sorry
What
to come
about
after
a
the rape.
finesser? What if we say not a liar per se, but a finesser?
A finesser just a nicer way of saying no.
You guys, I just think.
Can I offer something?
Okay.
Let me offer something. The reason why Zoran will win and the reason why he won the Democratic primary in New York pretty handily, even though he was not 1, 2, 3, or 4 on my list, is because he had a very simple message. Apart from all the other buzz around him, that he marched with the, pro-Palestinian movement, between all the other stuff, all of his promises, free buses, grocery store, people don't actually give a shit about the grocery store thing, the city-owned grocery store. They don't really like having a fast, free bus. It was not on the top tier of the list for New Yorkers. His overall finessed message was affordability, and that rings for pretty much everybody unless you're a fucking Upper East Sider. Like, that resonates. We need somebody who can do that message for America, where it can be, a generic overall message and not even get into like crazy specifics or whatever, because that's exactly what Trump did. I'm gonna make your life better. I'm gonna, lower shit. I'm gonna do whatever. We need somebody who can finesse all this shit and also have the amazing social media team and campaign team that Zoran has and had to win the Democratic primary, and why he will win the mayorship over fucking Cuomo, who is a name brand. He's up by about 20 points. It's insane. People should watch what he's doing, not the policies, but how he's doing it.
I fucks with that.
If you look at the link above, one of the things you'll see in the link above is, and you can decide whether you like the analysis or not, but according to Adam Bonnick, who's a researcher at Stanford, the relative position of the Democratic Party's policies actually isn't as important as people think. In fact, what he actually found was that leaning to the left actually boosted turnout in most of these elections and made them more successful. So it's worth considering that. I don't actually necessarily think the left-right thing matters as much as just having a candidate like Zoran who's willing to just like stand up for what he believes in. I think you can be a centrist and do that. Although most of the centrists haven't been doing a very good job of doing that since Obama.
I think that.
But there is a way to win by just.
Yeah, this is good. Thanks for sharing.
I'm with Scotty. You need a jingle and a question. What if we had this? What if I could do this? It's like Roosevelt, you know? These are the 4 freedoms. He didn't tell you how he was going to get it for you. You need a jingle. A jingle, you know? My baloney has a first name. Like that, you know? Something people, it's catchy, people remember it. They associate it with you.
I like Ike.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just wild about Harry.
Okay, exactly.
You know, I like Ike.
I like Ike.
Wasn't there one for
There you
JFK?
go.
Wait a minute. What y'all telling some nursery rhymes I ain't never heard of? What's going on?
You 86 years old. You should know these.
I'm 87. Get it right.
Stupid.
Did somebody just call me stupid?
No, that was Bill Clinton's
It's
thing
the
in
economy,
'92.
stupid, yeah.
That was Carville, I believe, who got that. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to the tricky comebacks, to the slick talkbacks? What happened to that? Oh, I don't know. I feel like
They gotta get better people. The people, you know, some of those politicos, they're too invested in the formula, and you gotta get people who can, you know.
But there's something to be
the
said.
formula.
So is it because they're more experienced, and I'm trying to stay away from the word, but outdated, perhaps old?
Kamala had
yes.
she had a part of her team that was really good at like clapbacks and witty comebacks and stuff that really gets people energized. They just weren't given the latitude and the leeway. Like they didn't really let them do their thing until like the convention, which was kind of late. Like I put it in the chat. If you all watched the convention, they were like really good at trolling the Republicans. Does anybody remember like the signage, the light spectaculars they put on the buildings across from Trump Tower?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't remember. Wait.
Yeah, like, cause he was, one of them was like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but you know, Trump was always obsessed with the size of the audience and the crowd. So they had like this huge, like life-size, it was like a projection onto a building that was right across from Trump's hotel that said something about the size matters or something like that. But it was witty what they said, but it was like a genius troll. They did that a couple of times. But they weren't allowed, like, it was like they just gave them little pet projects to do instead of like really letting them go and do what they could do.
Remember when they were taking pictures of the audience crowd of when Trump was at the audience and he couldn't even fill up the upper room, the upper seating, and then all of a sudden Kamala Harris, and it was like literally standing room only. And they used to just post pictures and used to just piss him off to no end. I remember that part, John, and that shit was hilarious.
I can't remember who it was. One of the speakers made a dick joke. I can't remember who it was.
Oh my God.
All right, can I also mention also what is happening in New York when you're seeing the campaign right in front of you? What Zoran is doing very effectively is he's doing the man on the street kind of stuff. Like, it's not these staid campaign commercials. He's out there on the street. He's talking to, they're literally walking and talking as they're doing it. They're doing the subway takes, if y'all ever seen that Instagram account, where people are just being interviewed on the subway, like celebrities and whatnot. He's responding to everything that's being thrown at him in the media. He's also meeting with groups that historically would not want to vote for him, and he's it out there that he's meeting them. He's meeting with Jewish groups. He's meeting with at fucking Crane's business. You know, he's meeting with all of these other people that did not necessarily vote for him, although a lot of Jews did vote for him, but like groups, like going into synagogues, going into other areas that are not inclined, and he's getting his message out there, and he's softening up people's take on him. And the benefit of what he's doing right now for the Democratic Party is that the election is this November. And what's going to happen is if he doesn't reveal all the nightmares that people are saying that are going to happen to New York don't happen by this time next year, then we're going to see a different take on what a more left-wing Democratic candidate in other races could do. It's not going to be as scary because people are going to see that somebody like Zoran is not the big boogeyman, and the people who adopt his, policies or his affordability stance is not something that's going to scare people.
All right, so this is a two-part question. This is real quick for you, Scotty. Has everyone from the Democratic Party endorsed Madani? I know the governor did.
The governor did. No, the cowards have. The cowards have not.
They haven't.
And they should. And they should. No, they should.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they should. And they're being fucking stupid. And that's
Charlie Kirk before he endorsed Madani.
Exactly. And well, he voted for, or I'm not sure if he abstained, but he didn't vote no against the Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day. And this is the kind of shit that people fucking hate. Stand on your fucking values. So, he shouldn't be in that, and, I'm not even going to get into that. But Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries are failing Democrats right now. And they're doing so by not endorsing Zoran in this. He is a Democratic Party candidate. In what world is that candidate not being endorsed by other Democrats who live in New York City?
But, so I have a question.
He is a Democrat.
I have a question, though.
All right, I'll talk about second one later. Go ahead. No, because I'm going to take it, so if you want to stay on that, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. In terms of like Chuck Schumer and what his job is as the majority leader or the minority leader, I mean, are there not considerations that are there not things that he has to consider relative to his job, which is getting senators elected, right? And getting people elected? Is it not possible that some of those considerations are impacting his decision to get into or to endorse in the mayoral race?
Yeah, but I'd say that's a legitimate thing. However, I think if he were to endorse, by the time all of that is going to matter in 2026, I think that'll be long gone, because it's eventually going to come out that he either voted for him or not. If he didn't, okay, fine. You know?
Yeah, I just think about the people that he's working to try to convince them to enter races, and the people he's trying to raise money to get them to support people. I don't know. I just wonder about.
I mean, I think that's a fair political strategy question. I don't know if it's the same for Hakeem Jeffries though. I don't understand it.
I get it.
Similar.
Wait a minute. Hold up, because we are at the bottom of the hour. Thank you. I'm not sure exactly who that was, but I'm going to come right back to you. As we approach the top of the hour, I just want to say hello to a couple people. Hey, No Carbs. Hey, Ari Boo. Let me see. I asked those questions for a specific reason because, right, Kimberly had mentioned something very, very important in regards to when Kamala was running, right? And if we don't have the strategic people that's supposed to be the strategists behind, if they're going to sit there and sabotage their own candidate, what hope does the Democrats have? Seriously, why would you continuously, because I think if I'm not mistaken, what was also in the book, and Kimberly, feel free to correct me, but she was explaining how whenever she would seem like she was shining too much, the people that are supposed to help the candidacy move forward they would say, oh, well, she felt as though they would say, okay, well, she's shining too much. We got to put the spotlight back on Biden, which then caused her to feel, I don't want to use the word insecure because that's not what she said. But to me, the way she's expressing it, it feels like she felt like she had to dial it back in order for him to continuously shine. So she's playing like this double role, like, okay, I'm playing vice president, but at the same time, I'm trying to be the president. Again, my overall question is, how are you supposed to win when people that's supposed to support you and supposed to boost you to go forward aren't really doing their job? Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying, but I think it's there might be some conflation because from what I've read, when she's speaking about the people that kind of tried to diminish her or keep her in a certain place, that was in her role as VP. That wasn't as much in the role of the presidential candidate.
Well, okay.
Like the two different timelines.
That is true, but there is some.
So I think sabotage might be a strong word for it.
Well, I don't know. I know we're all Biden lovers here.
I feel like sabotage is suited for how she may have felt it went when she was in the presidential race. But today that they might have been trying to diminish her or keep her in her place as a VP during the regular presidency.
Yeah.
When Biden is president, I feel like sabotage isn't the right word, because if they work for the president, of course they're not going to want the VP to outshine the president. That's their job.
But that was the crux of the problem, because she was being VP but running for president at the same time.
No, so you're conflating the timelines. Yeah, that's what I was trying to make that delineation.
Okay. All right, let me hear from Kimberly.
Oh, okay. So the sabotage for me comes in when Joe Biden is I don't know if it's historically, but maybe historically, if you cut Trump out, an almost historically unpopular president, and Biden is making it really clear that he does not want her to move away from him. He apparently understands now, because he's had that intervention with Pelosi, and he has the real numbers, that he is very unpopular, that he was on the way to losing, but still he keeps reinforcing to Harris that he calls her kid and all of this kind of stuff, like that they are a team and she does not need to move away. And then, of course, there's the story that's gone viral about him calling her right before the Trump debate and kind of almost rattling her a little bit.
Yeah, what is that story? Sorry, Kimberly? I fucked up.
No. I'm here. I'm sorry. My partner is talking to me. One moment.
Child, I thought my phone broke.
No, I'm trying not to prioritize Clubhouse.
It's okay. Go ahead. Somebody else wanted to speak?
Well, just because she was asked about this at the GMA interview that Mel played earlier, and they were like, we heard that he called you, or you wrote in your book that he called you before, and that upset you. Like, can you tell us more about that? And she touched on it lightly, but she pivoted quickly, because I think obviously she didn't want that to be like the headline. So she was like, he was asking me to do something that was more, in his interest than mine. That's kind of all she said about it. So I'm very curious about this part of the story.
So she stated in the book that he called her and said, my brother's head, you're talking shit about me, and I want to know what you're saying and if it's true. This is minutes before she was to step on stage to debate the orange, rapist that has, things with Jeffrey Epstein. There's a dementia-driven Tylenol weirdo, him. And so what we saw is an explanation of how the Biden team, she was careful to name Biden when she needed to specifically give examples of what Biden did, but also made clear to differentiate between him and his team, some of which were on her campaign. So the campaign / Biden team undermined her as VP, and it is not true politically or historically that a vice president is not to shine or never have moments. Vice presidents have been given multiple moments to shine. Biden was given moments to shine. Al Gore, we've had multiple presidents give their VPs those moments to shine because the role used to be that your VP is your successor, that the VP is going to run. That's how it's always pretty much been. It's just that's just how politics work. So for his team, she specifically wants to make sure we know it's the team, to not allow her wins with what she negotiated in Guatemala to mitigate some of the migration that was happening from Guatemalans to the United States when she was, quote, sent down there, honestly, in my opinion, and a lot of folks' opinion, to do a suicide mission of figuring out what was going on with the border, why the migrations, why the crossings were happening. That was a tough, unpopular thing that they wanted to send her to go do, the dirty work. But she went and did it as a public servant would. And when she was lambasted on Fox News and being called the border czar, the White House refused to push back. They refused to have a counter. They refused to respond. When she went and got the agreement with Guatemala and some of the other Latin American countries, they refused to let her go out and explain what she did, to tout it to the world, to name it. No one knew it existed. Everyone just thought the border was a mess. The bipartisan border security bill was the thing they were working on. No one knew anything about what she was doing. But we all online were saying, where is Kamala for 4 years? Everyone said it. What happened to her? She's gone. She disappeared. They're hiding her. Why is she in hiding? She had a speech on Gaza that she gave that was incredible, that they hated, to the book, that they hated. And they told her, you gave the speech too good. Your speech is better than his. Well, guess what? His speech is insincere because he says, I am a self-proclaimed Zionist. Of course he doesn't get a fuck. So what are we talking about? She was better in many areas than Biden, and that is not her fault. She should be able to pick up the slack. And the way you makes folks excited for a midterm is to say, I know Biden is getting older, but we have this young black woman here who is extremely accomplished. Look at all the stuff she's done. That's how you actually help the party stay confident in a particular administration and not have a red wave. We're lucky to have a red wave because we didn't know what the hell Kamala was doing. We only had the information that, oh, okay, they got the bipartisan infrastructure bill passed. Okay, cool. They got the infrastructure bill and the Inflation Reduction Act. Cool. And that's pretty much all we knew. And she was right to say we should have focused more on meeting the needs of folks immediately with child care, with paid family leave, with expanding and making permanent child income tax credit. Like, there's all these things she talked about in this book that everyone does.
Oh, I have it.
And understand, I'm done. I'm going to be quiet after this. I just wanted to say there's a lot of misinformation on stage. There's a lot of stuff she said that is true. She should have been given more of an opportunity to shine. We would have known way more about what she was doing. We would have had way more confidence in her when she decided to run, right? And we would have, I think, also had him not run at all and allowed her to be his successor. She was undermined. I don't understand how people don't understand this.
While we're under the topic of
I'm sorry. We can't. I have to keep talking. Back to the story. I'm sorry. I have a thing. You have to water your relationships, nurture your relationships. Okay. So the big call that I know Harris did not want to talk about because she did not want these quotes, like her real quotes. Okay. So it's before the big debate with Trump, and of course she fucking killed it, like blew him out of the water. But immediately before that, Joe Biden calls her and says that his brother, that he's been talking to his brother, who is like a mover and shaker in Philadelphia, and his brother is reporting to him that Kamala has been going around talking shit. I mean, obviously that's not the words that she uses in there, but right. And that she was minimizing Biden in order to separate herself from him. And they have a conversation, and then he also, during that conversation, according to Harris, says he talks about his debate performances, his great debate performances, and she's like, I cannot fucking believe this. Like, this is the most important thing I'm ever gonna do, and we're talking about your debate performance? Like, what?
While we're on the discussion of
And then,
Vice
I'm so
President-
sorry, I'm still talking.
Yes, ma'am,
And then, you know, she talks to Doug. Doug Imhoff is there, and of course, like, he's pissed, and he, like, encourages her to let it go. But basically, she channels that frustration, that anger, and she freaking whooped the shit out of Donald Trump. But yeah, Joe Biden also he's a little shaky in this book.
Sure, you're right. But while we're in the discussion of vice presidents that shine, and Kamala Harris certainly shine, but I think a decision making it could come into question when you pick a vice like a Minnesota governor that it's not, he hasn't said a syllable in years, and so you have to rid yourself of the geezer and her decision making and vice president. It took away from, in my opinion, her ability to do at least better, if not win. If she's bringing some energy to the table, she's articulate, she's a nice-looking woman, a lady that appeals to a lot of people. But then if she picks a vice that's just a geezer, he's just another geezer, or another like pay guy, he's just another B-movie actor. So he's average and she's spectacular, and that counterbalances, and it causes her, I think, to actually lose the race.
That doesn't make any sense.
In my opinion, just my opinion.
Yeah, politically speaking, when you look at, first of all, when you look at Tim Walz, he was a popular governor, that doesn't actually work. I mean, what they were trying to do in getting Tim Walz was to get white men and to get moderates, because he's a white man who also used to be a Republican who switched parties and became a Democrat and was a moderate Democrat, a centrist, and then got closer to the left in him being in office. And
but no known political record.
Just so if I could land.
Doing anything spectacular himself.
Very strong network. When it comes to Tim Walz, that was why he was selected. Shapiro wasn't selected because he is a Zionist, and Buttigieg was not selected because he is a white. And she is a black Asian woman. So it's like, of course, you're not going to put a diversity ticket all there. You are going to go after a white man. That's just like logical. Now, of course, there were possibly other options, but when you look at the Midwest is the way to win the presidency. That would be Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, which have voted with each other and in concert with each other since 1969. So guess what? If you can get someone who can appeal to the Midwest, hokey white men, that the theory is, okay, maybe you could win. The better choice would have been Shapiro because he can win UPA. However, he would have maybe lost you a lot of support in Michigan because of the fact that he's a Zionist and there's a large portion of Arabs there. So it's complicated politically. So she was smart to pick Walz. Unfortunately, Walz was a pussy and did not want to debate J.D. Vance. He wanted to compliment him. So you had that. The bottom line is this. She should have had longer than 107 days to run. There should have been a primary. She probably would have won the primary, and Biden should have never ran for re-election. That is what
potentially she could have picked maybe a blue-collar Democrat that had a little shine. And there are several out there. I mean, you just... So then it goes on to her decision-making. So that's where you can...
Go on.
From Truman Eisenhower to this hour, I will assure you that there were just a gambit of choices that would have outshined the wooden-toothed governor from
Who was the better choice for VP?
Many. I mean, she could have picked Hakeem Jeffries or your boy.
Why would you pick a New Yorker? Why would you pick a coastal elite?
Why would you pick a Boston?
Matt, just let him get it out. Matt. No, don't go nowhere. Don't go nowhere, Matt.
And there were governors in Virginia and other spots that Demi from Florida was shining. So people with skill and articulation, people are able to get, their political message over, and I don't think he was very well endowed intellectually to take his political message to the top, at least.
Are we really talking about anything with Donald Trump in office?
Hello?
Wait a minute, what's going on? Wait a minute, hold up. I don't know where this conversation is going and spinning. We're gonna bring it right on back. All right, Uncle, you gave your piece. Go ahead, land your plane.
We're right on top. Well, I'll put a link in the chat and I'll land my plane saying, my.
Peace out.
Get back up here.
Peace out.
Matt, where you go? Come back.
I'm so sorry. Congressional Black Caucus, please be there. We'll be there Thursday and Friday and they'll have good stuff, even a hip hop part of it. But we're going to bring the Cherokee, and the question to Donald Trump is, why did you put the language? Why did you say English now? And the Cherokee has a lot to say about that. So we'll be at the Congressional Black Caucus with Ben Crump, the Honorable Ben Crump, Dr.
And that's next week, right?
It's now, Thursday, Friday. The Hip Hop Conference, I think, is at 2 o'clock p.m. You don't want to miss that. You'll get your political issues over on the first day on Thursday. So all day Thursday here in Washington, D.C., you do not want to miss the CBC conference and convention. It's spectacular. All of you want to get your auto, your computer, your AI, ZI, A through Z. Every tech corporation will be there. Your opportunity for jobs, recruitment, just the whole 9 yards. Young to old, everybody bring themselves to the Congressional Black Caucus this Thursday and Friday, basically all day long, and say, my.
Okay, just wanted to say this in response to what you said, because I just chat. You don't pick one. So for one, if you have someone on the ticket that's from California at the top of the ticket, you do not pick a New Yorker. You need to appeal or try to appeal to the Rust Belt or the Sun Belt, or if you want, just the Midwest in general. So you wouldn't be going. I mean, if you went after someone in VA, who are you getting? Tim Kaine again to lose? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, Tim Kaine again, Mark Warner, they're not getting you anything. VA is no longer a state you're going to really try to dig a nominee out of. I mean, I think Abigail Spanberger could be a great VP choice since you only can run for one term and you can't do 2 consecutive terms there for governor. So if she wins right now, yeah, she could be an interesting choice for VP, maybe, depending on how well she governs the state for these 4 years, right? But realistically, you also don't get someone from New York. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries is trying to be speaker. You go pluck him from the House and he doesn't even appeal to except New Yorkers. His national profile is, I'm trying to be speaker. And people don't like New York in the Midwest. People don't like New York in the Sun Belt. They think these folks are coastal elites. You get someone who feels like they're from where they're from and who makes it easier for you to win, as I stated, those 3 states. Right now, because of how the last census went, the easiest path for Democrats is the normie blue states that you win, and the 3 swing states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and PA, which have always voted with each other for the last 50 years. So you get a Midwestern guy, right? Or girl, or whatever. But if you're a Kamala at the top of the ticket, a Black Asian woman, you're probably getting a white man to be your VP who can appeal to those folks. Now, you could have got Pritzker. I don't know if Pritzker would have really got you those 3, to be honest. He would have got you a lot of money. Maybe he would have been a better choice than Tim Walz, but arguably Shapiro would not have been because of where we were at with Gaza. He is a Zionist. He was proud of being a Zionist. He was trying to condemn protesters at their colleges. He was not the right option. If we have nothing going on with the Gaza stuff, he would have been the perfect choice. He would have got you Pennsylvania. If it was a white man at the top of the ticket, Gretchen Whitmer would be a great option, right? But you can't have, unfortunately, in this racist, fucking sexist country, 2 women on the ticket. I mean, if we were in New Zealand, I'd be like, yeah, hell, fuck yeah, because clearly they have sense in other countries. Our country does not. They want women as trad wives, pregnant, barefooted in the house, praying and talking to God all day, and taking care of 9 children. That is what America, unfortunately, believes when it comes to that. So I'm not going to dig deeper into that, but y'all know what country we're currently living in. Charlie Kirk's America. So yeah, you got to think logically and actually understand politics. I'm not trying to be mean, but it's fine to suggest stuff, but you got to really study some of this stuff because some of these suggestions are just absolutely absurd. And also, whoever put in the chat, Gavin Newsom and Kamala on a ticket, that's also illegal. You cannot have 2 people from the same state on the ticket as president and vice president. They have to be from different states.
Yeah, I think it is affected with the voters' decision making. You see, there's a gamut of people. You got someone out of Texas. A Longhorn usually does pretty good. There's several of them there. I mean, my. Yeah, I think
not hold my hand, Matt. Just hold my hand, Matt. It's okay, Matt.
Yeah, Andy Bashir would have been a better option. Also, I saw someone write Andy. That's my personal choice for president. 28, he makes the most sense. He'd get you the South. And then if you want to go and mix it up, get you maybe Gretchen Whitmer as VP to get the Midwest, or you could maybe even do Ruben Gallego for Latinos and the Sun Belt, or John Ossoff if you really want to get the Sun Belt and the South. He's young, smart, people like him. And this is, of course, if he wins next year for re-election in Georgia, and also if Georgia gets a Democratic governor, because guess what happens if he is VP and they win? If it's a Republican governor in Georgia, they replace him with a fucking Republican, and it makes it impossible for them to govern in the Senate, because we'll more than likely have, as Democrats, a 50-50 Senate in 2028, based off of what a lot of folks are saying in terms of just like probability. So you don't want to pluck a Democrat out of the Senate and throw them somewhere unless there is a Democratic governor in their state that can appoint a Democrat to sit in their seat. So that's what look at California. That's how we had, I forgot her name. She was the woman that Gavin Newsom appointed to fill out Kamala's seat before, obviously she didn't want to run for re-election. And we saw,
LaFonza.
Get her seat. There we go. All right, LaFonza, yeah, who I also thought should have also ran for governor, but she doesn't want to, so there's that. But yeah, so that's how it works. I just, I get it, naming people that are cool, but we got to be strategic here. We're not in the same country we all thought we were in 2024. We're clearly in a very strange world. Strange new world, strange old world, strange racist world. So that's all I want. Oh, Andy Bashir is boring as fuck. He needs charisma class. I'm just reading the chat. Sorry. Yeah, he needs to figure out how to become more entertaining and engaging. But he makes the most sense. He's in a D+35 state, Kentucky. Won re-election twice. Won AG. I mean, he's clearly someone who can win. And I think we're gonna have to bring back the South. The South's gonna have to come back to the White House, and not the South for Republicans. The South for Democrats.
The South is gonna have to rise again.
Yes, girl, period. And I'm cool with mixing that up. I mean, you could just do a full Southern ticket. I mean, it's still kind of a risk if it's Andy and John Ossoff, but that would be fine for me. Or Andy and Gretchen Whitmer, or Andy and Ruben Gallego, or Andy and Westmore.
Like Clinton Gore, Arkansas, Tennessee.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, you could do that. Return to the South. So I'm just saying, like, when you look at numbers, those are things that make sense. Like, Westmore helps you get the black vote, and Andy would get you the rest of what you need, right? If it's Andy at the top and Whitmer, she helps you not just get Democrats who are going to be excited you have another woman as VP, but she helps you get the Midwest. Because guess what I said? Those three states, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, always go together. She was currently is governor of Michigan, a popular governor, leaving office, and guess what? She would help you get those three. So you just gotta, it's not hard to do some of this stuff, but a lot of people don't want to. Kelly, over in Arizona, he'd be awesome. He would really help you get the Sun Belt. I mean, Kelly could probably appeal to freaking North Carolina. People really love him and Gabby Gifford. So I'm just saying, we gotta be strategic. But back to what we were originally discussing, his team, Biden's team, undermined Kamala as VP and, in my opinion, saddled her and really had her in a chokehold and muzzled during this election, because she was trying to be loyal. She was trying not to undermine him. She was trying to be a kind person, and unfortunately, she did not have enough of an identity or brand that fucking administration would allow her to have and carve for herself, because it would, quote, make Biden look weak. You have an 80-something-year-old man. Get over it.
I think part of what also happened with her was I actually thought she ran quite a good race in the beginning, and then just the wrong consultant, wrong strategist got in there and was like, "Yeah, you should definitely spend 6 days."
Pivot to the Cheney.
Like what the hell?
Yeah.
And I think Tim Walz, frankly, in his ridiculous debate performance, is part of that too. They told him to sit down and stop doing the thing that actually made him popular during the cycle, which was the whole weird thing, talking shit about Republicans, while also pivoting towards more of a, let's stop being weird and actually be together, which I thought was a message that was working. And then it was like, oh no, this is working too well, let's undermine it. That never made any sense whatsoever to do that. You've got momentum, you're actually building something, and then you're just going to undermine it. And I honestly think, and Kimberly was saying this before too, I think the Mike Donalds of the world, the Anita Dunns, all of them just were stuck in 1996 or some year that's long gone in a politics that no longer exists, and it just absolutely sabotaged them, because she got close anyway. This was not a massive win.
Your Honor, it's kind of like you said with that
with what you posted up there about like how when they move further to the left, they do a little bit better. Because I honestly think the reason behind that is if you move more to the center, for those people that are on the fringe about voting, it makes both sides really look more equal than what they are. And that will, depress the turnout. And I think that hurt.
I think if Gaza had not been such an issue, then she would not have done the Unite America tour with Liz Cheney. I just think that, and I don't think that there's reason to believe that, they just gave up on the idea that the young people that they'd be able to bring the young people in because of the Gaza thing.
You know what's wild?
The young people and the suburban people, because they have to do the Michigan people too.
Do y'all
It was wild.
Y'all think that...
Let me just say one quick thing about the Michigan thing.
So how do you...
You want to go now?
Just real
Okay,
quick.
then I'll go. No, I was talking about the guy. Okay, you go ahead. I'll go after you then.
Okay, I just want to ask Kimberly real quick. So how do you explain all of the emphasis she put on the women's control of their body thing? If that wasn't like for young people, like what was that about? Because I thought that was overly done.
For women, okay, so reproductive rights, abortion was such a winning issue in 2022.
Yeah.
The Democrats way overperformed in the 2022 midterms because of Dobbs. And so it polls well, and Harris was good at talking about it. That's the other thing that she, says. Like, Biden was squeamish, right? Old school Catholic. And so whenever she was able to get out and talk about the importance of this issue, she could come alive. And so she thought that would be the thing. And abortion is still a winning issue. I mean, like abortion is almost the most popular that it's ever been, like in American history. But people would vote for abortion and then vote for Trump.
Yeah, I just think it seemed asynchronous or something, out of sync with what she had going on. The heavy emphasis on it, I couldn't tell whether
that was when she seemed the least wooden, and I think people.
Not her people were performance of it, but just the mere amplifying of it. Because at the end, it sort of took over. It was all she talked about.
Oh yeah, there's just a desperation. There was just we're just trying to do what we can to get across the finish line. The end.
And also, it kind of all messed up at the end. Hold on, before we lose the thing about Michigan, I just want to briefly say this. I saw some political operatives from the Muslim American community speak the other day, and I was actually really fascinated at how much Muslim Americans actually voted for her. It's way more than I thought. Like I forget the exact number. I think they worked it out where if every single Muslim who voted, uncommitted in the primary had voted not for Harris, just like for anyone else, either leaving it blank, voting for the opposition, voting Jill Stein or whatever, it still would have been something like 65-35 in that community. Really, really fascinating. I wish I had a link or something to it, but it was just thing I saw.
That sounds low to me.
And that really surprised me.
They all
low.
I mean, maybe I just don't know enough about this, but 65-35 still seems kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you looked historically, it probably is a little bit low, but I think relative to the popular opinion of what happened with particularly Muslims in Michigan, people made it sound like Trump had won them or something like that, or that there was some mass move regarding Gaza that led to her losing Michigan. And if that happened, it didn't happen in the Muslim community, and that's what I thought was interesting about it. I'm not saying there was no movement, but it wasn't like people have been talking about.
Oh, but what was the move? What was the move from Biden 2020 to Harris 2024?
Biden overwhelmingly won Arab in 2020. Like he won them handedly. Like I'm gonna say real quick with Latinos, like in comparison, like she won Latinos, but we all talk about how Latinos went to Trump, and that's actually categorically not true. She actually won Latinos, but the margins, like the gains he made were so significant that yes, even though I don't remember if it was 55, 45, or if it was 64. I don't remember the exact the numbers, but yeah, it was way more than a Republican had ever won them. So it did, unfortunately, in Michigan, tip the election for him. She lost by 80,000 votes in the state.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the only demographics that Trump really won were white men and women.
And young white men.
The virtue signaling of the white lefties suppressed the vote for many people on the left and suppressed the turnout. So although the Muslim community may have come around and voted for Kamala, there were certainly white lefties who didn't get the memo that they should have decided to vote for Kamala in spite of Biden's stance on Israel and alliance with the Zionists. And those white lefties, I'm going to continue to hold smoke for them because they were fucking an embarrassment in the last election. Thank you.
I wanted to go back to something though that Kimberly and Dr. A.G. were naming regarding abortion, and Kimberly definitely touched on it, but I wanted to just expand regarding the split ticketers. You had abortion on the ballot for Missouri, Florida, like 4 states or something, and all those white women did is said, okay, cool, yeah, I want my abortion, but I don't want Kamala. But Democrats have to stop thinking that split ticketers don't exist, because they were split ticketed more than they split ticketed before in this last election.
Well, to be fair,
they should have not put it on the ballot. I mean, I'm just saying, like, these active groups should have not done that. They should have said, we're going to let the election be what can help you all determine or protect or not protect those rights. Because if you're doing it, I'm saying strategically, because all they're going to do is say, I want my ballot initiative to be what I want it to be, and I don't want her, because I don't want her other policies. Especially if you're a single issue voter. I mean, this was split ticket. They have a whole article about this. They fucked up.
But what about like Arizona, right? So in Arizona, we get yes, abortion, yes, Gallego, no Harris.
That comes down, unfortunately, that's Carrie Lake being an unpopular loser who's lost already and came back and lost again. I do attribute that to Ruben Gallego going all around the state. He talks about going to like small podunk towns in Arizona that no one ever goes to. I watched his interview he gave after he won, and they were like, "How did you win?" Like they wanted to talk to him and Baldwin and Jackie Rosen and asked how did y'all win these states? And I would say a lot of folks came out because of those candidates, yes, but also because of Harris being on the domestic ticket, she did help with turnout. So I won't say that she did not. However, I think he got to win over some of those folks because he actually went and did the work in the state. She barely went to Arizona. She barely went to Nevada.
That's a good point.
She barely was there. She was up and down, going to North Carolina, going to Georgia, going to Pennsylvania like 12 times or something. Like she was focused on the blue wall. She was not focused really on the Sun Belt until the very end. Then you saw her go to Georgia. Then you saw her go to some of these other places. And that's the problem. I mean, she didn't have enough time. And I'm not gonna, she was undermined by the idiot. He should have been what he said he was going to be from jump, a one-term president. He should have been setting her up after the fake red wave that didn't happen in 22. And by March, she should have been pre-campaign. We know Kamala pre-campaign. We know when she was dragging Brett Kavanaugh. She was already in campaign mode in 2018, 2019. We already know what Kamala was doing. Everyone goes, oh, she's running for president. We already know what's going on. So I said, Cory Booker said, this is my, what he say, my gladiator moment, or what the fuck he said. Like, we knew what was going on. But these folks are like overachievers. Kamala would have made sure to define herself, to brand herself. She would have been out there in South Carolina. She would have been Iowa. She would have been Hampshire. She would have been all over. She would have been all over the Sun Belt doing her thing. If she knew he wasn't running, if that wasn't announced yet, but if she knew, because it was an internal decision they made together, and they were going to prop her up, and she was going to take the mantle and carry it as the fucking she was one.
Can I ask about, Matt, your assessment of Nevada? Because Nevada, I believe, was another one with abortion, and Jackie Rosen won. And yeah, what's
high order, Jackie Rosen. So, firstly, when it comes to her war, she has a bad when against placement, and with her with above placement. And so, Jackie Rosen is always, unfortunately, not as good in comparison to Catherine Cortez Masto, but she's always still beat down victory. So she had a better shot just off her war to win. She's an incumbent. If she was not an incumbent in Kaizen, if she was a Gallego, if she won by less than he did, I don't know that we could have a senator in Nevada, right? If she had run for election and it was a newbie, it would have been way harder because they don't know that person. Kamala, unfortunately, she didn't go to Nevada but like once or twice, and it's unfortunately she's having a time. It's another issue of split ticketers. Okay, cool. I don't have to vote for Kamala, but I can vote for what I want. But I do like Jackie Rosen because I want someone who can check Trump. They interviewed people in Nevada. They asked the woman, she says, I'm not voting for Kamala, but I'm voting for Jackie Rosen and I'm voting for Trump. And they go, well, why? She goes, because I want Rosen to keep Trump in check, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
I want to add on to the Nevada thing. I mean, the Bidenomics messaging play was one of the worst political moves I've ever seen in my lifetime. I agree. It's absolutely horrendous. And Nevada is unusually impacted, probably the most impacted swing state economically by COVID. And, just obviously tourism, all those people who worked on the Strip who aren't getting paid the same way, just lots of economic despair and stress. And I think that was part of the story there as well. That really dragged down that whole ticket. And I do think that if she'd had a chance to run a full race, they kind of would have stayed, that stench would have stuck with Biden more in such a short period of time. I feel like that was already priced in. There's little she could do.
I completely agree. This is actually, Aaron, the same reason why I will go down in flames if I'm wrong. I think Joe Lombardo is going to be losing his re-election next year. I know everyone else disagrees with me. I think Aaron Ford is going to beat his ass. Not because Las Vegas, I have 5 friends there, have told me it's completely dead. The Strip is, Vegas is fucked. Worse than when Biden was in office. Like, they are fucked. So I do not think that Mr. Lombardo, who also doesn't want to expand Medicaid there, and further, I think that I think they're getting rid of Lombardo. I mean, my friend calls him Dumbardo, and my friend is a non-partisan. Like, he hates politics. He goes, I know who I don't like. I don't know why I don't like him. I don't like him. He's like going to rant. But then I have other friends that just explain to me who are very also, either normie Dems or just like very much, I don't pay attention. I'm a Gen Z. I'm a TikTok type of person, and they all have reasons to hate Lombardo. They're all like, he's impacted my job, he's impacted this, he's impacted that. So, the state pretty much hates that man. So no matter what push polls you guys are going to read about him, that man's going to lose next year.
I think there's a preponderance of evidence that there's a cliche in America. They buy cliches. They buy into just the idea of gimmicks and cliches. Not just in the Olympics and stuff, but in voting. Now, say for instance, that's like a cliche or gimmick. If Trump shows up flipping burgers at McDonald's, now, by Kamala Harris already had some commitment from the Teamsters, and you have to carry the Teamsters to carry certain voters. She could have just showed up, parked in the truck, driving a McDonald's truck. That would have gotten her some balance. She wasn't running a counterbalance. If he showed up in Michigan, maybe she needs to show up in Ohio. She had to run a very counterbalance to go along with the cliche. There's a group of cliche voters that I singled out 1 year doing somebody's campaign. So I learned about the gimmicks and cliches that they buy them. And then there's a statement in there somewhere that, if he can flip the burgers, then I'm going to bring the food to the market. Teamsters is very important in there.
Do you know that Sean O'Brien, president of Teamsters, spoke at the Republican convention? She was never getting the Teamsters. The Teamsters are overwhelmingly Republican now. They do not like Democrats, even though Democrats have given them every single fucking right that they possess as a union to would never.
Yeah, that's why I go after them, because
She could have not won Teamsters though, because literally before she even really started, like her campaign, they were already.
If you show up driving a truck, you could win the Teamsters.
No, you can't. When your leader endorses, right, a Republican named Trump, before you even get in the race, you can't win Teamsters.
You know, if you're not doing, see, you're no effective, you're no more effective than your ability to skillfully use your community outreach and door-to-door is the hottest item you got.
She door knocks. She knocks over the stuff.
I'm not going to be long. Yeah. I intend to be strong, but I will not be long. Yeah, I'm just going to say this, that if you have the opportunity to address the Teamsters can be won. If he's flipping burgers and he's got all the people that eat burgers and people that make burgers, that means the workers that
What are we talking about?
At the cashier. I'm just talking about the Teamsters in a way to win if she was just showing up in a truck, not even necessarily driving the truck. That would have been a percentage of votes. Because American voters buy into cliches and gimmicks. That's how land my plane back.
Joe the plumber. This giving Joe the plumber.
Do the Teamsters work at McDonald's? The Teamsters don't work at McDonald's. The Teamsters are not burger flippers at McDonald's. Those are regular employees at restaurants and fast food chains. The Teamsters are individuals who, like, they're drivers. They drive shit. They build, like, what are we talking about? Like, that's not how they keep. I work for you and I'm in love with the PA.
Only an example. You know, but anybody showing up driving the truck would have got the Teamsters. I'm telling you.
So she should have had a big rig and roll.
My brother drove me 2.5 million miles. I have 1.5 million miles. And I assure you, you can win the truckers by showing up in the truck. Because you got to bring food to everybody.
I'm glad they have low IQs and fall into gimmicks like that. But she unfortunately was not winning Teamsters because they had already decided their candidate, their president, Sean O'Brien, a no MAGA, who'd been MAGA since 22, but went very public last year during the election. He crowned Trump their guy, and Teamsters overwhelmingly support Trump. They're overwhelmingly men, and unfortunately, they're overwhelmingly white men. And unfortunately, guess who Trump always wins, and Republicans always win. They always win white men. So, unfortunately, since they left the Democrats, since they really stopped leaning towards Democrats, I think union and started leaning more into just their own personal radicalization. They don't care if you're a Democrat at all anymore. I mean, they won't even support Sheriff Brown, dude. Like, they just endorsed technically of the incumbent, John Huston. They just endorsed him. They won't endorse Sheriff Brown, the fucker who's been like the union man, dude. Like, he doesn't need to prove anything, y'all fucking truck drivers. Sheriff Brown has been a union guy. Big union nigga. Like, what's going on? The fuck? And they don't support him. So we gotta start paying more attention before we start offering some suggestions.
You'll be keeping it real. Obviously, I mean, choice of vices was not a winner's hand, and you got to play a winner's hand. And I can even show you how to be a winner to win with a losing hand. That'll be on my next time at the mic. But nevertheless, you have to play a winner's hand. You're going to include Vegas and the Teamsters, etc. Then you have to go after them. And you have to make a way out of no way, invent the wheel, and go after them. There's a preponderance of evidence. They're definitely not going to come to you.
Everybody okay? We're good.
Excellent indeed, never better.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you so much.
I'm also doing quite well. I do think that I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what is true or not, but I have a lot of skepticism that politics are going to function in the same way in the next election and all of that. I feel like there's just something for me that rings hollow about applying kind of the old rules to this next election. And I hope I'm wrong, but, you know, I just think that there's going to be a level of intimidation from the federal government that's going to be on a scale that we haven't seen. I don't even know ever when it comes to the federal government. Like the last time the federal government was involved in federal elections, like maybe
also we have to remember that the vice president signs off on the, election results.
Jesus is not of the same nature as God, anyways.
He's not.
Not going to come back to the Democratic Party. What are they doing for those people?
My contention is, I mean, there are people that would say that they're not doing anything, but that's
No, I'm not saying about people. I'm talking about you and Amari.
I'm answering the question. I'm answering the question. If you don't want to shout over me while I'm answering the question,
Babe, I'm not shouting. I'm not shouting.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to answer you.
Just think I'm a Latina and say I'm